What's going on, Unity community? It is lovely to have you here. We are live from Barcelona for Unite 2024 Day 2. My name is Jackson. I'm one of your community managers, and I am responsible for our live stream content both here on twitch.tv and twitch.tv/Unity, as well as the official Unity YouTube page. It is so great to be here with each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us. Those of you that were here yesterday, thank you so much for coming back. If this is your first time stumbling in and you were not able to join us yesterday, like Unit Code says, I wasn't able to catch yesterday. What did I miss? Let me tell you. Yesterday we went through and we're looking for something very similar today as well, where we basically are trying to give you guys a little taste of Unite from Barcelona. So what we're trying to do here is bring you just some of the vibes, the energy, some of the knowledge, but we are not necessarily diving into deep, informational, full-on sessions the way that you would experience here. Instead, we want to bring you the community energy, the opportunity to connect with other people, listen to their stories, share a little bit about what they have going on here. We are excited to bring the community together and bring the appropriate energy. I'm very, very excited. Again, as I have said, fantastic to have you all. A shout out to everybody. Again, this is a live stream. This is not an edited video. So if you have questions, comments, let us know. We want to engage with you. We are trying to bring the Unity community together. That is my job as a community manager. Freeman, I am seeing a couple of people saying that perhaps our audio and video are out of sync. If it's something that you are able to take a look at, I would appreciate it. But otherwise, we're here to chat with you guys. Thank you for letting us know and continue to do so. We've got Lamac online on the Twitch side saying, can I have a question regarding Unity on Mac OS? You can feel free to ask them. I will not have the answer for you, but the wonderful thing about the Unity community is that everyone seems really eager to help each other. So asking the question in chat, you never know who might give you the answer that you need. So please feel free to do so. We've also got Noob on Drugs. Wow. Okay, that's a name for the first time joining us. Thank you very much. D Dreams Ann is back as well. But again, thank you all for being here. Alipios, welcome back. On the YouTube side, of course, some familiar names. Lurking Ninjas returned. Unit Codes is here. Wolfos, etc., etc. It is allegedly video delay as opposed to audio delay. Thank you very much, Violet. We are going to take a look. Now, we've already addressed this. We've talked about it many times yesterday. We see it almost every time we go live. That somebody hops in chat and is like, Unreal is better, or Godot is better. And my response to you is, neato. We talk about this all the time, and I'll continue to hammer it home for you guys. If there are tools that work better for you, use those tools. If you are creating something cool in the games industry, I'm happy. That's all that matters. We want cooler things being put out. If you're using Unity to do it, fantastic. We've talked to studios that use 10, 12, 14 different sets of tools. And if Unity is a part of your creative pipeline, that's fantastic. And we're so grateful that you're here to be a part of it, to learn when we have the opportunity to share that type of information with you, or just to connect with fellow people. We talked to the team from Phasmophobia yesterday, which was super cool for me as I'm a big fan. But what they said, the reason that they are using Unity and the reason that they feel that Unity connects with smaller devs in particular is the community. Is if they run into trouble, there are so many opportunities to connect with other community members, to ask questions and find solutions. So I highly encourage all of you, if you're not already, to head into the Discord channel. We've got an official Unity Discord, and there's also a discussions page at discussions.unity.com. Connect with your fellow game devs, network, find opportunities to help each other, and I think as long as the games industry is growing and strengthening, Unity is happy. I'm happy. But again, thank you guys very, very much for being here and listening to this specifically. Unit Code says, I agree with Jackson. No hate on any engines. It's the tools you enjoy and have integrated into your pipeline. Exactly. And I think realistically, it's just people coming in trying to change things and make things. They're just trying to stir up trouble. That's all it is. So We don't need that here. So we're going to help you find the door if that's the case. Unity, community, opportunity, says Unicodes, and I dig it. Dinar Dev also says that the community is a huge factor in this as well, which is great. And D Dreams and on the Twitch side says it is the artist / programmer who is the one that delivers the quality. Unity, Unreal, Godot are just tools. It's like a photographer or painter. Independent of the tools, they can still create awesome art. Exactly. So as long as you are creating something that you are passionate about and it looks fantastic, I think myself anyways, I can't speak on behalf of all of Unity because it's too big for me to do that, but if Unity is a part of that creative process for you guys, that is a fantastic thing. And we like it a lot. Again, looking forward to today. We have a number of fantastic guests. We're going to be live for 3 hours today, which is great because we were live for 4 hours yesterday. And by golly, did I go to sleep at 9:30 p.m. as a result. But there's a lot of fantastic content coming your way. We are just here to bring you a little bit of a taste. People are going to share stories about their time here at Unite. We're going to sit down with a couple of industry people as well. We've got representatives from Marvel Strike Force, the #1 in my heart at the very least, Marvel mobile title, as well as Raph Koster, a bit of an industry legend. And then a handful of content creators and internal Unity folks as well. If you guys are familiar with Turbo Makes Games, who has joined us on a stream in the past, as well as they have their own content creation journey. We've got a lot of content. We're going to be joined by them as well. Freeman, are we ready to transition into our next segment here? We are not. Should I just continue to engage with chat? What are you guys up to? One of the most exciting things for me in our content creation journey here as a community manager is pulling people in and connecting people from all over the world. So I would love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? Got Samuel saying hey in chat. It's great to have you here. Never Again says there's a distinct philosophy in the Unity engine. In my opinion, it's a do-it-yourself mentality. It's a playground, even if clunky sometimes. And I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to check out the keynote yesterday, but there's some fantastic things happening, some things to be very excited about. So make sure to go check that out if you have not already. It is an incredibly hype video. It's about 1 hour and 10 minutes long. We had it live here from the convention, the conference yesterday. So a ton of very, very cool things, including like technical demos, what to look forward to, all of these great types of things. So go give yourself, do yourself a favor and go and check it out. We also have Queslot here from Sweden. Hello and happy Creative Friday to you. That's fantastic. Alipios is in Australia. We've got the Masked Mouse in Netherlands. Yumi Gears is in Italy. Of course, we've got a Fox here. Welcome on in. We've got a Sen. Hello, hello, hello. On the YouTube side, we've got Dinar Dev in Iraq. Unicodes is in the United Arab Emirates. We've got Timothy in France, Latvia, India, Netherlands, Poland, Ghana. Welcome on in, everyone. It's so, so good to see you here. We've also got some Poland representing, Ireland and Germany.
What's going on?
The UK
Unity
again are going. Thank you all so very much for being here, wherever you're tuning in from. Of course, we've also got a Riley Cyrus in Vancouver. The time zone difference is substantial, so thank you for being up early and or exceptionally late for hanging out with us here. D Dreams and still in the Netherlands, but has moved to a different town. We've also got Malta represented in the YouTube chat. Again, giving you guys a little bit more of a detailed overview of what we're going to be chatting about in this most casual, laid-back, conversational approach to live streams that you'll ever see. We've got Esteban joining us in a little while here. Esteban joined us for the summer of Esteban, the multiplayer summer, of course, to discuss a number of different features coming to the multiplayer focus pillar of Unity 6, etc. We're going to be joined by Johnny and Dan. Johnny of Turbo Makes Games and Dan come together each week to create content in a focus around dots. Later in the show, we'll be joined by Raph Koster, a CEO of Playable Worlds, and a couple of representatives from Scopely. Again, that's the Strike Force team, before kind of almost closing out the show with a Thomas to basically talk to you all about learning resources, ebooks, creation, discovery, etc., etc., etc. I know that we're ramping up here, and we've got Fox in the Twitch chat saying that they are actually playing a game made by Unity right now. Crime Scene Cleaner. What is a Unity game that you have played recently that you have loved? Please let me know. What do we got going on? Ooh, we've got someone tuning in from Mars. That's exciting. But we've got lunchtime in Europe. What will we play today? We're not going to be playing any games live unless something unexpected happens. But otherwise, we are mostly here for the conversations, hanging out and chatting with the team, which I think will be very, very fun. Again, as a reminder, my own background here as a community manager, I am not a dev. I do not have explicit dev experience, which is why I bring in people who are way smarter than me. I think that's super important to talk about all of these things. So if you have super technical questions, chances are high that I might not be able to answer them. But again, the Unity community hanging out in chat here might have answers for you. We have Skydriver popping in on the Twitch side. Welcome on in. Masked Mouse saying that they've been playing Phasmophobia and V Rising lately, which is very cool. I don't know if you were here yesterday, but we talked to two of the representatives from the Phasmophobia team for about an hour. We gave away 5 copies of Phasmophobia, which was super duper fun. And you can go and check that out right now. The VOD is available on Twitch, but it's a lot easier in my experience to access the VOD from the live tab, the streams tab on YouTube. So go and check that out. Blakeberry also tuning in. Great to have you here. The Last Stand Aftermath. Very, very cool. Skydriver, I hope you're doing well. Again, thank you so much for joining us here. Spells and Secrets is a game that was made with Unity that was played recently by Sen, which is super cool. V Rising is sick, declares Ronnie Hot Dogs on the YouTube page. And that might be, I know it's early, and it's too early to say perhaps, but Ronnie Hot Dogs might be the name of the stream. Well done. V Rising was actually also briefly represented in the keynote presentation yesterday, which is fantastic. Go and check that out. Highly recommend. I don't know. Well, I do know. I actually found out yesterday. I was saying this, but I found out later who does our sizzle reel videos, but they do an incredible job. There are some very cool sizzle, like just hype videos in there, which is so very fun. Representing Wales, Carl Jones. Great to see you. Tactical Breach Wizards is on my list. It's actually on my list of people to potentially talk to on a live stream as well. I would love to get that team in to kind of talk about a tactical RPG approach. Any info on the roadmap presentation that will come online to YouTube? Any of the sessions that have been recorded here at Unite, I believe the timeline is the next week or 2. So keep checking back on the YouTube page. Everything should be edited and posted and ready to go. We've got Play Compile calling out Zenless Zone Zero as a great Unity game. I started playing it. My previous job was a community manager at a mobile studio, so I am familiar with mobile gaming. So I hopped on and I played the tutorial and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then it was like, you need to download 10 gigabytes of data on your phone. And I said, I absolutely cannot do that. And I'm sorry, but that will be it for me. So I didn't get much further. And I hope that you're enjoying it because honestly, whatever games you're enjoying, I hope that you guys are stoked about it. I think all of us coming together, I think there's a really interesting, if I can just wax poetic for a second here. There is a really interesting kind of Venn diagram of people that love games. And then at the very high end of passionate gamers, you get people that are curious about game development, which is all of you folks. So I love being able to chat with you all about games and what's going on. So I think it's fantastic. We are still trying to fix audio issues on our end. It seems if you guys can confirm that we are still audio out of sync here. Otherwise, we might just roll on if it's not something that we think we're able to fix immediately. Samuel is making a Lego game. That's very, very cool. We've got a Danny in chat on the Twitch side, which is awesome as well. We've got a video delay. Freeman, is it something we can explore putting a filter on our video in OBS and putting in a manual async? Is that something that we can take a look at? Thank you, gang. apologize, and thank you so much for your patience here as we try to resolve it. I hope that you guys are looking forward to the stream, because I certainly am as well. Again, a couple of really technical questions being asked right now. Oh, Ronnie Hot Dogs is on it. I think it is fantastic to see the community come together. Again, we've got that Discord page, and it's got over 100,000 people in it, which I think is really, really interesting, because as soon as I hop in there, there's people saying that they have questions. Oh, I was trying to build this thing. I ran into an issue. I couldn't figure it out. And then immediately, like 3 to 5 people are like, oh, have you tried this? Here's a bit of script that I've written. Oh, I've tried this. I've run into this issue. Why don't you give this a shot? And I think it's so cool to see the community come together on that side of things. Thank you for the confirmation, Robert, that we've got our audio synced up. And with that, we will dive into our first guest, a name and a face that many of you may recognize, for we had a whole summer dedicated to them from the company Unity. Please welcome to the show, Esteban.
Hey, Jackson.
How
what
you
up,
doing,
everyone?
buddy? How's it going?
Dude, what an intro. Thank you.
Is it good? Good.
More than good. Oh, my God. It's amazing. Yeah.
So we're in Barcelona.
We're
at
Barcelona.
Unite. It's day 2 officially.
Yeah.
Day technically -1 had some events, but this is day 2 officially. How has your conference been so far?
Dude, it has been amazing. Straight up.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like people have been so happy, especially since the keynote, like getting all the updates, and people just straight up showing like the vibes here are so much more positive. It's so good. Oh my God, like so very, 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 very awesome. People are really happy. And as you know, obviously I talk a lot of smack about multiplayer and whatnot.
Smack. Yeah. As if you're going to talk down on it.
So no, people are quite joyous to see the changes, and like how cool the tech is, and like how much faster it is to get started with it. Like, but even before that, dude, enjoying this city in general. Oh my God, this is such a beautiful city.
Of course,
honestly.
And I think for yourself, actually, before we roll on, can I get you to just tilt down your microphone, point it basically at your chin.
Right there.
Yeah. Point it right at your chin, which is great. But I think you have a relatively, I mean, at least for me, anyways, unique experience here, because you also speak Spanish, so you can navigate this city in a way that many of us would struggle to do so. But
coming from Puerto Rico, by the way, huepa, everyone. Nice to see.
Of course. We want to know about you before we'll come back to Unite. But you've joined us on, I think, 5 streams in a row about a month ago. We went through a whole process of live stream content, transitioning a game that was not built to be multiplayer into a multiplayer game. And you were kind of at the head of that alongside Thomas.
The one and only Thomas Winkley.
The one and only
shout out to
runner-up, second place fighting game champion of the world. But tell people a little bit about yourself. How long have you been at Unity, and what has your kind of career internally been like? Where have you bounced around to?
So, no, I've been at Unity. It's going to be 5 years now, since 2019. I was the last class of interns before the pandemic. So, like the last,
You came in at a really exciting time.
Indeed. Oh my God. But like I've been in Unity 5 years. In fact, I used to engineer, like just writing code all day, and thankfully, one of Ashley Alexia, who's also at Unity, also proud Puerto Rican game developer like myself. She's the one that actually encouraged me to, hey, you do some community events here and there. Like, you might want to like try out to see advocacy. Like, I feel it could be a good fit. Like, she believed in me. I tried out. Like, I made a few demos, showed off like some community work that I've done, and like, heck yeah. So, and that's how it kind of transitioned into this team. But yeah, like I started working on game development in Puerto Rico as a hobby. In fact, like my first coding language that I used was C#, XNA back in the day. If everybody remembers, this is like over 11 years ago now.
Whoa.
Like over 11 years ago now, and from there, I started making a few indie games with some folks, and I decided, you know what? No. I need to make a career of this. This is what I want to do. So that's when I moved to Seattle, Washington, more specifically Redmond, Washington. But went to study there. Pumped up my skills a lot. Got my ass handed to me by a lot of stuff that I learned. But happy fails. Like you fail to learn and come out ahead.
Yeah, it's a really interesting perspective to carry, right? Like that there is no failure. It's simply an opportunity to learn.
Correct.
And I've only been doing this for 2 months. And I think while it's not game dev, it's still very applicable that like for myself, I'm like, I should be way further ahead, and just kind of taking the moment to be patient with yourself and being like, no. Any stumbling blocks, an opportunity to learn and grow and do something more. And it's great to see that we kind of share that mentality a little bit, even across I don't know, disciplines and that sort of stuff.
Dude, it's fun learning. Like
right?
that's the thing. It's fun
can be
learning.
scary though.
Yeah, it's scary, but we're tackling it. We're
exactly. Absolutely agree with you. Bringing in again, gang. We are live. We're hanging out. We're chatting with you. So if you guys have questions, comments, let us know. Pulling in from the YouTube chat, Lurking Ninja says, "What percentage of male Unity employees have beards?" And thinking back on it, like yesterday we had Mike and Thomas, big beards each.
Indeed.
Even Laurent has some. You got it's higher than you would expect, which was confirmed by Carl Jones. With the beard ratio is very high, which I think is
it's
in
our contracts. No. I'm joking.
It's actually if you get hired in, you have to grow it.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic.
Oh wow.
We also had people saying hello to you, of course. Ronnie
Everyone,
Hot Dog says, "I
nice to
love
see you."
Esteban, such a happy smiley face." Unicode says, "Hola amigo, it's great to see
Hola a
you."
todos los hispanos hablantes de español. And yes, like Jackson said, yeah. Oh my God, it is indeed when you can just come in with your native language and just cruise the city,
Swing
explore
back
it.
and forth.
Oh my God, amazing.
We also have Danny on the Twitch side saying, "Latinos in the house."
Latinos in the house. That's what's up.
So it's good to have you guys here. Thank you for hanging with us. So we can talk a little bit more. We can talk about multiplayer, which is definitely your focus, your expertise. You're an advocate in that kind of pillar as well. And I think people are excited for what comes next for Unity and Unity 6, the tools that they are familiar with, eager to use, those types of things. But can you talk to me a little bit about the opportunity to connect with people in person here at the event? Oof. We're not necessarily trying to tell people you should come to Unite. Yeah. But for those of us who were not able to make it here, what is the kind of value and excitement that it brings you, being able to see people live?
Being able to interact with the folks here, that I get to see, dude, that I get to see like the things that people want to create, like the smile on their faces that whenever they see that new tech, either new tech, like the possibilities, like for example, I was just reading on Twitter how now we're actually going to be able to mix a lighting for URP and HDRP into like a more unified lighting shader and all that, and I personally think I'm not like I don't dominate graphics a lot, but I still like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. Yes, because a lot of people still have that split decision between HDRP or URP. Yeah. But like, I'm glad that development is getting easier and much more accessible, to be honest. And but hanging out with folks is also getting people to see that inspiration, what their excitement, like you can tell that they want to go home, that they want to definitely enjoy their time here, but they want to go home and try out the stuff, like, oh my God. So that's one of the best feelings. And if we did that, and if we inspire people and we see that joy, that's when we did our job.
Ooh, I like that a lot. Ooh, I don't know if you've been PR trained, but that's the way to do it. I like that. I think that I'm a hype man as much as I'm a community manager. That's my job. But what I love most is being able to talk to people about their passions and get people really excited about things.
Heck yeah.
So if the result of the keynote yesterday, if the result of the conversations that have come out of Unite, if the result of the sessions that get published is people are really, really excited. Yeah. Oh, man. That's what it's all about. So we're really pumped up about things that are coming out here. So did you watch the keynote live yesterday?
I saw it live. I was from the staff seating, but obviously we let our guests enjoy and get the better seats, of course. Just like when you receive somebody at your house. But yes, even from our point of view, it's like, oh my God, this is so cool. Yeah. People are like super excited. I did, but yeah, and thankfully, the cool thing about the breakout session is like you see the keynote, but then in the breakout sessions you get to find out more information about those particular features, like the session that I did yesterday. So people saw like the multiplayer center and quick start content and all that, but we went ahead and went into more detail. Hirsch
Yeah.
being the TPM, the technical product manager for a lot of the multiplayer technology.
So you had that session yesterday.
You had the session.
How did it go?
To not to my own horn, but like honestly,
You guys
it went
crushed
well. It went well.
Not to
Like,
my own horn, but we crushed it, which is great. And then
Hey.
again, these are the types of sessions that you all will be able to find on the Unity YouTube page in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for those types of things. And you can let Esteban know. Go into the comments and be like, you did crush it.
Like,
I do want to pull in a question here that we have
Nice.
from the YouTube chat. Ronnie Hot Dogs, legendary
Ronnie
name,
Hot Dogs,
says,
nice.
Esteban, I would love to know your thoughts on why I should consider switching from Photon to Unity netcode/multiplayer. What are your thoughts?
Sincerely, I would actually ask Ronnie, like, hey, like, why are you considering it? Like, and a lot of people might be like, I mean, dude, aren't you pushing like the Unity technology? But it's like to the point that you were talking earlier. Like, yes, we work at Unity. I mostly use Unity, but dude, you know what? Unreal's a great engine. Godot's a great engine. Game Maker's a great engine. Technology is awesome, and we should explore. And you know what? Competition is healthy. So definitely, I applaud everybody here that explores other engines as well. But obviously, what I would say for switching to Photon to here is that a lot. I would say that like the investment in the technology has definitely improved a lot. The ease of use is really amazing. And I keep saying this, but our tools are right now like I'm not gonna lie, they're game jam friendly. Like cool. Somebody that has never made a multiplayer game, like they could take it in a 48-hour game jam and get started in a matter of minutes, and then dedicate the rest to like focusing on the gameplay and stuff. So that's really cool. That's one of the biggest values, and I still every time I show it, even though I've seen it 100 times, I get super excited. But also to the question to Ronnie, I say, depends on what kind of game you want to make. And sometimes even I tell people, even if you've already implemented a particular netcoder, but redoing all that code is a lot of work. So perhaps leave that alone, but we can help you with other services, live services, Matchmaker or Relay, for game server hosting. If you needed to expand and publish your game and support other areas in the world. So, but definitely try it out. And Ronnie, like, feel free to try the Unity netcode for game objects with the new multiplayer services SDK with the widgets and all that. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Honestly, yeah.
But because again, we've talked about the strength of community and how it pulls and adds and develops and builds for this experience. And I'm seeing it happen in the YouTube chat right now. Someone asking questions, multiple people providing answers. So if you start to explore these tools and you come up against your first kind of difficulty, you struggle, you stumble on something, I encourage you all to look for learning resources and opportunities to connect with people. Later in the show, we're going to talk about our ebooks process, creating them, distributing them. We're going to talk to the minds behind them as well, which is super fun. But there's a lot of different ways to learn, and I think it's learning in general. There's a reason we have like a whole education department here, right? Because Unity does so many things that it's hard to just like walk in and know. You need to learn, and I think that can be a difficulty at times as well. And I'm glad that people are working on it. But with the keynote, we touched on multiplayer. The very first thing was trying to get the word across in general about Unity 6, that it's going to be the most stable version, and trying to create a ease of access for people and ease of usage. So with multiplayer in mind, again, there was just the briefest demo of the UI and like the creation. What are you excited to see people create from a multiplayer perspective in Unity?
I want people to surprise me, like straight up. Like honestly, I want to see people like try and making anything from like casual games to something a little bit more that requires a little bit more physics calculations. Like maybe a shooter. Strategy games. I freaking love strategy games.
Like we're talking like 4X strategy. We're talking like
maybe oh my god, like Pikmin or
interesting.
Age of Empires. So like, dude, it's been a while since I played a good session of Age of Empires 4.
Lately. You know what I mean?
definitely more simulation games. I freaking love them, man. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, honestly, like to the chat, I would say like please surprise me, like show us what you're making and share with us that feedback. I would say, yeah, it's really valuable, and we are looking for more feedback to make the tools even better.
Yeah. And I think being able to see not just games that are made with Unity that like have massive breakout hits and big marketing budgets, but also seeing like the passion projects from people is really, really fun. We'll use the example from last week where we played some student-made games. Have we told you this story yet?
No.
So last week we played student-made games with Thomas and Kirk, and we played through 7 games in kind of like an hour and a half. We kind of blitzed it and we dove in. One of the teams reached out to us the following week and said, "Hey, a publisher saw that stream, saw our game, and reached out, and we're in talks for a deal now." Which is so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Isn't that rad? So like. There are other opportunities for you all to get involved creating your own passion projects. Coming up in November, there's a game jam that we're helping support. And I think it'll be my first game jam, but I've kind of got a little bit of the lay of the land of what to expect with it.
Jackson, are you going to develop a game? Are you going to join a game team? Please do.
Right now, we're definitely ahead of ourselves, right? But the tentative plan, the outline for it is that I'll be there as part of this stream, but we're also bringing in other people who are going to make the game and kind of direct the game and do less of the technical work, but kind of contribute to the overview.
Nice.
My plan, and maybe they don't know it, but I'm also going to help with that. And more than anything, I'm just going to be here to kind of like contribute to the general, being a liaison between who's presenting and who's here in the chat. So again, come and hang out. We always end up in situations when we do that type of thing where we're looking for input, we're looking for advice, we're problem solving, and doing that as a group is really, as we saw with the multiplayer summer, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
No, but dude, trust me, like, and the chat can, I know that the chat can back me up on this. Even if you like new to tech or anything like that, there's always something where you can help in a game jam. There's always something. Yeah, like
just like a creative mind. I think it's so cool. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. I waxed poetic about how I have such a passion for team. Like I grew up playing team sports and seeing a small studio where people, you know, they don't all have the same knowledge set. They have different knowledge sets, and everyone comes together with their own strengths to supplement other people's weaknesses. I love it. So again, like the game jam, we're going to start in November, and then we're going to go to basically December. We're going to return. We're going to show off the game that we made, but then we're going to play some of the games that were made for the jam as well. So that's right now tentatively the plan for the content creation journey.
Nice.
Tell me a little bit about your own game jam experience. Have you participated? It sounds like you speak very passionately about it.
I haven't missed a global game jam, I think, since 2020 or 2021. Like I still participate in them. I mean, and the cool thing is, you know, as an advocate, you know, we get to go to the game jams, and also if there's a little bit of time, I go ahead and sneak in a little bit of development myself. But no, like the past few global game jams I haven't missed, and I've made some projects for myself. Like it's fun. It's fun to like step out of your comfort zone and try out new technology or practice on something that you haven't dealt before. Like for example, like me, like visual effects or something like something that I don't super dominate or other kinds of gameplay programming. Like they're perfect opportunities for practicing something. But at the same time, dude, so many games right now start from a game jam and start from like a silly idea, and usually the silliest ideas are like the ones that maybe there's something there and some potential, and they can become actual legitimate businesses, and then eventually launch into real products. Like that's something I love about game jams, and I always encourage people like keep joining them whenever you can. And although I will say, like, I'm not, dude, I kind of do the 48-hour game jam without sleeping. No.
Oh, you can't do that. I thought you were like, I can do that. I was like, I literally went from like moderating chat to just like,
no, dude. I need to be chill. That's why I like to do like the week, and I just like little by little spend time little by little developing. Like, but I know that some of the folks, and I know some of the folks in the chat were probably like, no sleep. sleep, no sleep until launching the game.
We're jamming. Yeah, I think there's a lot of love we're seeing in kind of both sets of chats here. Gang, if you're watching, if you've participated in a game jam and want to share an experience, please tell me about it. I would love to hear it. But we've got people in the Twitch chat saying, so excited to see where the stream goes. Love a good global game jam, which is fun.
Heck yeah.
People were excited about both your mention of Pikmin and Age of Empires style games being the reason they kind of got into games in the first place, which is super, super cool. And then, yeah, just I'm really curious to kind of get into it and see, but I think that's one that we're not going to necessarily be able to predict, right? It feels like it's an unpredictable experience, and I think kind of getting into my first will be really fun to connect with people. And kind of on the topic of connection, and we talked about Unite here so far, but you also brought some cool photos that I want you to be able to discuss a little bit.
Yes, please.
So Freeman, if we're able to pop to screen share, we've got what, kind of 6 to 8 photos here. And just to give you a time check, we got about 10 minutes before we kind of roll into something else. And as we kind of get ready, good, we got them on screen. But I just want to also say hey to Dennis McVeigh, who showed up in our YouTube chat. Elapios again says, I still have never, which is great. Like, I think there's a lot of opportunities, and maybe this one coming up in November is the one for you.
Yes.
But what are we looking at here?
Dude, we are looking at...
Also, here, let me give you this so you can control.
Oh, thank you very much. I can control it. So what we're seeing here is Dominic and Lucy that gave the awesome session on distributed authority, which is one of the newest features that we were announcing. I think we talked about it on the keynote as well. But if anything, though, distributed authority is a new kind of networking topology that like helps to distribute the authority of objects in between the connected client devices. And they gave a session, and sincerely, it's I don't know. I love the topics. It's really cool. I'm really happy. They did an awesome session. Then the next one right here. Oh my God, I love that. So I think that everybody recognizes the person, even though this person is covering their card, their face with their cards, everybody know that that's the one and only Manuel Sansili.
Of course.
fellow dev advocate. We were playing our Unity trading card show game. Like, did y'all talk about it? Did y'all mention it the show yesterday?
A couple of packs here that if we have time today, we're a little bit rushed. I'd like to give some away, but we also have 2 different sessions of game codes to give away later in the show.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've got a couple of different opportunities. We got about 10 codes to give away to people later. So we'll see if we get to it. But yeah, this card game
is so much fun.
It's very cool. So it's a card game. It's a 55 card deck entirely made of Unity tooltips, and the studio that helped create it basically has put out a tooltip on Tooltip Tuesday every week for however long, forever.
Like for 8 years, something like that, like every Tuesday.
Which is bonkers.
Yeah, like how do you find that many tips to begin with for any tool?
Yeah.
And by the way, real quick, yes, that is Code Monkey right there.
Oh, is that Code Monkey? Dead center.
So Manu and I were actually playing, and I won. So I won the first round, and then Code Monkey came in and just obliterated. Like just
that's Code Monkey.
Yeah,
no, I'm
that's
so
Code Monkey right there.
I've interacted with. I've got. Oh no. Oh no.
Wait, what happened?
So Code Monkey, this individual.
Yes.
On my first day here, I was jet lagged. I was in the hotel. We were actually helping set up these cards.
Yeah.
And a couple of people came down. I recognized Johnny, and a couple of other people came through, and I was distracted and exhausted and jet lagged. And this person comes over and is like, "Oh, you're Jackson. You're from the live streams." And I was like, "Hey, thanks." And I was like, and they drive by me. They kept going, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't get your name," and they left. And I'm only now a day and a half later, realizing that was Code Monkey.
That was the one and only.
And I'm super embarrassed.
No, you're good. Like, by the way, thank you, Freeman. I was gonna say like, but then, oh my God, dude, I love this moment. Like this game right here, Manuel ended up winning, but the gentleman that is playing against Manu, like this game, even though it's so simple, they kept flip-flopping between like, so Manu played around and that mean that he was winning, and then the attendant, like they played around and then all of a sudden all the cards flipped and he was winning, and it was like back and forth, like such a cool round, and they were like super concentrated. Like I love this picture.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I think it's so cool that I believe it was Mike who was on the show yesterday.
Oh, there we go.
Our new fighting game champion. Mike
game champion.
Mike was responsible for kind of spearheading bringing this deck together and all of these cards to the event, which is so cool.
Dude, real quick, like I love this picture. Like look at all these insiders. Like like please for what I'm about to say, no, take me out of it. But like just all the insiders. Imagine like all the Unity knowledge between like Sam Yam. We see Danilo. We see Code Monkey. We see Jasper. Oh my God. The other two insiders, the gentleman with the holding the beer with the glasses. Sorry, I forgot your name. And the one next to Camila, also an insider, but like all the Unity knowledge in one picture, dude. This is amazing. Like,
I was talking about it before this stream, actually, that I'd really like to bring on more content creators for our stream. We do creator spotlights in terms of like dev studios working
amazing
on games.
Creator spotlights.
Right?
I'm gonna add it. Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate that. But at the same time, I think that there's such a unique angle to discussing these types of things with our content creators, because not only do they have this big brain, this big wrinkly brain for content creation and getting their product out and making sure it's polished and well made and all of those sorts of things, but they also have this incredible knowledge in Unity that they need as a foundation to create this content. And I mean, we're going to talk to a couple of content creators in a minute over there, but we'll dive into that a little more. But it is something that I want to start to explore, which I think is so fun. And maybe we can get Code Monkey, because the reason we almost had Code Monkey for this.
Oh.
But we just didn't hear back until we'd already locked the schedule. And I was heartbroken because when I started here 2 months ago, I was like, I don't know enough about game dev. I'm going to start using Unity. And there's a couple of opportunities internally, but I was like, I'm going to take it on myself and learn a little bit more. Do you know where I went to learn? Code Monkey.
Yep.
So I was like, let's talk. And then he walked by and said, hey, you're in. I could have been like, whoa, thanks. But instead I was like,
well, it's all good, dude. And trust me, like we're still gonna hang out a little bit more here. If anything, like he's gonna be around, but it's all good.
Well, maybe we're gonna try and bring in Code Monkey for a stream.
You should.
I can tell this story to his face.
Okay.
But Unicode wants to ask
and
you.
he's a very friendly dude.
Good.
Straight up, like he's a very friendly dude.
I'm gonna follow up. We're gonna try for that. But Unicodes wants to ask: is Code Monkey's voice the same as in real life as in videos?
Yes,
it's
it is. It is. Like if it is, you actually like. To be honest, like I feel that's how natural he is. Like in like that's his natural game dev voice. You know, like when you're speaking, like it does sound like, wait, am I watching a tutorial right now? Wait, what? But no, like but he just enjoys it that much that it's his natural self. Like similar to many of these insiders, which by the way, I asked each of them like, hey, like what's your strategy like for making content, everything? Almost all of them. Oh yeah, because I do this on the side because I have a full-time job and everything. And I'm like, dude, you get to that's when you know like they do this out of love.
Love for the game.
Love for the game.
Yeah.
And also, I forgot that and he was on the picture that we showed earlier, but I think that this is a very very likable, very loving purpose. But if went ahead, I want to pay it forward because other people make content for me to learn when I was coming up. So as new technologies come along, Unity 6 and everything, blah blah blah, I want to be able to make my contribution for the future generation of gamers that are gonna need content for covering that. And to me that was such a nice sentence. That's such a loving thing to like. I never thought about it that way. Like it's cool. Like you think, oh, I'm gonna do this for myself, but no, you're doing it for yourself and also for others. So it's so yeah. I'm gonna take that with me. To be honest, I like that. I like that feeling.
Aligns well with you as an advocate as well. And honestly, maybe if you really dug deep, that might be part of the reason that you do what you do. But at the same time, I think coming in from the games industry as a community manager into the game dev world and tools world as a community manager, I don't know that I knew what to expect. But to hear that is the driving force, that the sense of community and paying it forward and paying it back is the motivation for a lot of people. Really, it warms my heart. That's exactly what we want to see.
Actually, one more. Hey, Freeman, can we bring back the picture of the insiders one more time? The one that is wearing the green jacket, that's Camilo. And then to the right of Code Monkey, that is Jasper. Both of them, they want to. One of their missions was to create more content in Spanish, so that they can support their own Latin American community. So in a way, like yet an addition to this point of like paying it forward to the community and support it. So and us as a company, we should never ignore that. Like the value of our community is incredible, and I personally value it like crazy.
So big time. And I think we talked on a little bit yesterday that internally people have told me that the decisions made in the last short period of time, short bursts, is like the most condensed series of positive choices for impact for our customers and our community.
Yeah.
So it is really cool to see, and it might be something that for a lot of people with broken trust will require multiple touch points, a lot of put your money where your mouth is, a lot of following up. That one good decision is not enough to repair that broken trust.
Yeah.
So if the case is that we just need to simply be here and say we are listening and we care and continue to display that, not just tell, show not tell.
Heck yeah.
Then hopefully we can be a part of that solution and bringing people together and making a more solid, unified community, which I think is great.
And visit as many meetups as we can,
I would love to,
as we
honestly.
possibly can.
Well, we're going to Finland after this.
Heck yeah, we are going to Finland.
So if you're in Finland, look, I don't know how to give you this information.
And then afterwards, gotta give a quick shout out to Saeed Saim, organizer of the Berlin Unity user meetup. So Saeed, what's up, dude? But I'm gonna be going to Berlin as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're near any of these centers and can find your way into our Unity meetup, please do so.
Yes.
We also have a question from John Olson. That's a nice Unity cap. Can I buy it?
This was from Gamescom 2023.
It is a very nice
It is
hat.
I love it. I love it.
very
I
nice
should have
hat.
taken I should have taken at least 7 of them or
We
something.
got these shirts.
Yeah.
Right? We both have them.
Yeah.
They're nice, but like I will say that hat is nicer. Martin is asking, hey, does anybody know if and when the Unity Unite videos will be out, especially the video of multiplayer integration?
Ooh.
So we don't know the exact timeline because I believe we have a
mine got
production
recorded,
company. We go away, they record, they edit, and then they'll release in probably the next week or two. Don't hold me to that. I don't have the solidified knowledge, but that's my understanding. Was the multiplayer integration yours? Or was yours a different session?
So my talk was about, yes, it was about implementing multiplayer. So both of them were, but the other one, the one from Dominic and Lucy, that was specifically netcode for game objects with distributed authority.
Yeah.
But the one was more like a starter and everything. That was our session.
Very cool. So keep an eye out for all of that. Esteban, I want to say a big thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule here at Unite. I know you're in high demand coming off the summer of Esteban and all of the multiplayer knowledge that you possess. Unity community, if you want to check out some of the learning resources and the Unite discussions, again, keep an eye on the YouTube page. Those should be coming out shortly. Please say a big thank you to Esteban for being here with us. We really appreciate you.
Happy to be here with you.
And then let's go have fun in Finland.
I'm going to go have fun in Finland with you, definitely.
Nice. I like that a lot. Thank you very, very much.
Sweet.
And with that, we will change gears here. Again, a reminder to everybody, thank you so much for being here, for hanging out with us. We, of course, are streaming live from Unite 2024, day 2 here in Barcelona. We are bringing you a little bit of a taste of what's going on here at this conference. Now, we, again, want to be very clear on what we're talking about, how we're approaching this content, and what you're about to see, especially if you came in the last couple of minutes here and didn't see us kick off the show. We are essentially giving you a little laid-back, community-centric, casual, conversational peek into Unite. We're going to let you guys, we're live. So if you have questions and comments, please feel free to hop in and ask our guests those questions or comments. I'm paying attention. You can ask. You can say things. I'm here. I'm reading it. I see you, Samuel, and Unit Codes, and John, and Riley, and Alapios. I really hope I'm saying that right because I've said it a bunch of times today. And also Dennis. Keep them coming. We are here to chat about what this event is about. It's very casual. We're very loosey-goosey here today. So feel free to hop in and ask. Now, as a result, we will not necessarily be diving deep in on the topics that are discussed here at Unite. There will be further opportunities for you guys to dive in and find those resources in other places for sure. So keep an eye out and we'll continue to try to let you know. But again, my name is Jackson. I'm a community manager here and I'm responsible for our live stream content both on twitch.tv/Unity as well as the official Unity YouTube page. We are ramping up what we are trying to do in terms of creating content here. So I would be honored if you would continue to show up. We are doing at least a stream a week. We're taking next week off. So there's a weird time for me to tell you that you can come back every week and then also tell you not next week though. But we are looking to do a stream a week, and those pieces of content will vary. We'll do some creator spotlights where we talk to different devs about their projects, their creative processes, and diving in a little bit to their tools that they are using to help make those, give you guys a little bit of a learning opportunity and some insight into everything that goes on to make those games. And then we also go as far as displaying new features in Unity and giving you a little bit of a tutorial perspective. And our guests that will be joining us have been a part of those in the past as well. Wolfos calling out on the YouTube page that devs are answering questions about announced features on the forums. I know that this is a very, very exciting time with Unite and being able to, again, announce all of these new things coming. All of the future is bright is what I saw at least one person say, so that's exciting. Of course, with all of that excitement, there's a lot more questions and things. So if you have questions, if you want to be a part of those conversations, head to discussions.unity.com or go look for the Unity Discord page, which will be very exciting. We are back at it. Of course, we've got iKaizo in the Twitch chat. Great to see you. Welcome back. Mossy is asking, are you going to be talking about ebooks still, or did I miss it? That will be the last thing we talk about today, so you've got plenty of time. I hope that you elect to join us for what happens between now and then, because we got some great things. Of course, we're going to be joined by some insiders / Unity employees. You're kind of both, so we'll discuss that in just a moment. Then we've got some representatives from the games industry as well. And we'll be chatting with a little bit of everyone before kind of closing out the show with a conversation about ebooks, the process, the availability, etc. And we have 2 different opportunities to give away game codes to a variety of games. So stick around. If you guys like games, you're in the right spot. Speaking of liking games, I want to welcome in our 2 newest guests here. Please help me in welcoming. We've got Johnny, aka Turbo Makes Games, and we've got Danny. Welcome on in, you two. How are you?
Excellent.
Good.
Really amazing.
As we get started, I'm going to get you right up on your mic. Even if you turn to look at me, move with your mic.
Be right on there.
But everyone say hey. Now, you two are not unfamiliar faces to our community. So you both do a podcast. Is that weekly, the Hot Path Show?
Yeah. We do this every Friday. It's called the Hot Path Show. Basically, we talk about data-oriented design and game development. So a lot of the stuff we talk about is related to Unity's dots and ECS and all that stuff.
Very cool. So we've got Johnny and, of course, Danny.
Danny?
Say your full name, because I see you on...
Daniel Kierkegaard Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
we're
most
gonna go
people
with
just...
Danny?
Very Danish.
Danny.
We'll go with Danny. That's
Yeah, most
perfect.
people call me that.
Again, thank you guys both for being here. We've got people in chat saying hey to both of you. We got unit codes. We've got Paikia and Alipios. Welcome. So before we dive into content creation, before we dive into Unity, we are here at day 2 of Unite. Have you guys been to previous Unites, and how does this one compare?
Yeah, so I've been to a couple. The first one that I went to was actually in Montreal 2 years ago. It was a little bit of a smaller one because we were coming out of the COVID times and everything like that. But it was a really cool event and all that. And actually was at the Amsterdam one last year.
Together, actually.
Yeah, we were both there.
Yeah.
Which was a bunch of fun. And then this one there was an extra day after because the previous one was just one day. But this one's been really good, really similar too. So yeah.
Cool. It's always a good opportunity, an exciting opportunity to bring people together in this type of space. But how did you two come together for the first time? Because Danny, you work at Unity.
Yes.
And then you also contribute to a content creation platform. How did you guys connect for the first time?
Well, funnily enough, I actually started learning dots from Johnny, of all people. And then I showed up in his Discord, started helping people out there on the forums. And at some point, we were like, oh, we should do a stream together, which we did.
Well, it was kind of funny because you were just kind of in the Discord, you're helping out, being active and everything. And then one day you're just like, oh yeah, by the way, I've worked at Unity for the past 2 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did that.
Just a surprise,
Yeah.
Especially being able to connect across the world, always exciting. I had a similar event where I did my own live stream. And I went to play Sea of Thieves, and someone was like, oh, we should collaborate. Let's play together. And I was like, great. And then 5 minutes into the stream, they were like, yeah, if your community has any questions, let me know because I'm a dev on the game. And I went, oh, I didn't know that at all. So you guys have been creating content for a number of time, for a little while here. How long has Hot Path specifically been the focus for you?
Yeah, we started that earlier this year. I think like end of January about.
I think roughly there. Yeah.
And it's interesting to me because it feels like as you talk about it, again, with such passion, which is my favorite thing, and everyone's heard me say this a dozen times already, being able to talk to people about what they're most passionate about is so exciting for me. But it feels like such a specific topic. Is it something that you feel you can have the legs to discuss for such a long time, or at some point do you start to look to cover other things?
Yeah, that was definitely kind of like a thought kind of at the beginning, but I mean, we've been going 33 episodes strong now and have yet to run out of things to talk about.
I mean, in a way, it's like saying, are you going to run out of things to talk about with game objects? Which,
right.
No, the answer is no. There's so many games, so many options, so many things you want to make, right? So
yeah. The thing about games is like there's so many different ways to implement different features, and so you can go into the minutia of why you'd want to choose one thing over another. So yeah.
Cool. And that's not the only place that you guys make content, Johnny. I know that you have Turbo Makes Games as a broader genre or a broader umbrella, I suppose. What sort of content can people expect to see there if they've never interacted with your content in the past?
Yeah, so again, a lot of the stuff that I do is related to Unity's dots and ECS. The stuff that I'm doing, just more kind of dedicated videos for the channel. Like I'll do tutorials or showcases where I kind of, like make something interesting with dots and, again, kind of showcase the what I did and kind of how I use dots in interesting ways. So
is there any, for you, Danny, any particular challenges that you come across both working and representing Unity and also covering Unity from a content creation perspective?
Yeah. I mean, especially the part where most of the things that we're covering is like a year or two different from what I'm actually doing at work.
Like, oh yeah, I remember working on that last year.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, Danny would be like, oh, yeah, I remember, like, working on that a very long time ago. So
yeah.
Okay. I thought this was almost the other side of things where you're like, ooh, I actually know things that I'm not allowed to say.
No, it's that's come up so often. Or, like, they will ask some question on, like, a thing that will change implementation-wise in the future. And it's like, oh, the way that I should teach them to do it now is completely different than what I'm going to have to teach them later on when it becomes simple.
Sure, that's an interesting perspective for sure. For both of you, what is kind of the driving factor? Why is it important to you to help create learning material for people?
I mean, yeah, there are definitely a lot of reasons. For myself, I can say that, I like teaching things because it helps me just get like better, deeper knowledge of the subjects. And, I do a lot of like contracting and consulting type work. So, I feel like me kind of like teaching it and like really having to learn things in depth just makes me a more effective developer.
Yeah. Anything from yourself on that, or is
I mean, it's completely the same thing. When I teach people, I feel like I finally have things start to click in my mind. Like, oh, this is a new way of thinking about it. And also just like working on game projects on the side, which you often have to do in order to create content. It actually enables you to sort of feel things as a user perspective instead of just working on the feature itself.
Yeah. That's a great point. One thing that I think is also really important about, content creation and kind of having a community is, all these people who are, kind of in the chat and in the comments and everything like that. We learn a lot from them as well. Like, we'll be saying things and people are like, oh, I do it this way. It's like, oh, I never thought of like that. And, it definitely, goes both ways. So
it's been interesting to see, again, me being relatively new, 2 months in the job and not knowing what to expect in a sense of community here in the game dev side, but to be basically reaffirmed at every step of the way. Almost every conversation I have, wherever people are working together, is it feels like an integral part of what makes Unity. So with that in mind, are there opportunities that you find along the way where there's a particular topic that's requested a lot, or do you kind of just have your own guiding philosophy in creating content?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just go with the flow for the most part, right? It's just kind of like, whatever is, interesting and inspiring us at that time, we can kind of go off that, but...
Yeah, no, that's completely what we do. Like, we find, of course, all the comments, and then people will have asked some question, and we will at some point be working on a project that is related to it, and then we go, oh, yeah, we should totally cover that subject.
Right.
Yeah. creating games for content seems like a really unique space as well, because you're multitasking. You're not just fully dedicated to one thing. And I have to imagine, is there a alteration to your process if you're creating a game for content as opposed to just free to create a game however you please?
I'm not sure. I feel like, there's definitely like a bit of a consideration about, if I have an idea for a video in mind, if there's like, something specific that I want to like showcase, I'll maybe put a little bit more effort towards that. But I guess if I'm doing kind of like a game jam or something like that, and I kind of know that I might want to make a video on it later, I don't think it impacts it too much.
Yeah. Any differences for you, Danny?
I mean, I just tend to I can't remember the question actually now.
Is there anything different in your approach to creating a game for content than if you were to just have
I generally tend to create them the same way. There is one difference though in like the way that I then choose to communicate it. Like
Sure.
I won't pick the parts where I'm like, it's still like work in progress, or this is not the way that I would recommend anyone ever doing it, because it will immediately go bad for them if they were to do it that way.
Right.
I will instead teach the methodology of why I might choose to go with a quick glitch route or like a small little hack, if that's the subject we're covering. If I'm instead covering some subject on like, this is the right way to think about prefabs, then I'm gonna write code in a way that I actually think helps that understanding, especially if it's like a game project that is focusing on that.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense to me as well. And again, gang, we are live. We're hanging out. We're paying attention to you all in chat. Please let us know if you have any questions for our guests, or if you just want to tell Johnny his yellow shirt is awesome. That's also
I should totally have taken that on.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure. We also have Ronnie Hot Dogs calling out Danny with his fresh new haircut, looking good.
Yeah.
If you didn't see Danny before, he had the very long hair.
I had hair about this length before on all videos.
Because we were planning this stream and trying to get a hold of everybody and reaching out, and we have our internal communications, and you have your profile photo.
Yes.
Where your hair is down to here. And then the first time I saw Johnny, I was like, okay, recognize. And then you guys were together, and I was like, and you are? We've had conversations, and I was like, oops. But I think it's great. We also have unit codes saying today I discovered Turbo Makes Games. Gonna go check them out on YouTube. Gang, we have such a wealth of knowledge at this table. Please go and look for your opportunities to learn through them. Again, if it's Turbo Makes Games on YouTube, or if it's asking them questions here, please feel free to do that. On that topic, did you guys have a session here at Unite?
Well, I had a talk called Connecting the Dots, Let's Make a Game in Entities, like a practical guide on how you actually make a game with entities. So it's not just only theory of like all the why it's fast and why it's good to use, but also a lot of like game examples and like a live showcase of how it works.
It was a great talk. And actually, Danny, before the talk, I knew you were going to make like a sample game to showcase for everybody, but you wouldn't tell me what it was.
But
I think it was
a surprise.
He kept it a surprise, and I think that was the right call because when you showcased what it was, I had a good chuckle. You want to tell what your game was?
It was called Bugs versus Coders. So it was like a bunch of, you can basically think of it as Plant versus Zombies. Like you were shooting, like a coder was shooting all the bugs in order to kill the bugs, because that's what we do as programmers. We try to kill all the bugs in our program.
Yeah.
And so we were explaining that game and like how to produce a game like it, with all the like classic concepts that you would find in any game, like having an object, having components to it, having a system that writes to it. Sort of like, what does it take to make a game with entities?
Yeah, it was a really good introduction to Dots. I think you hit on a bunch of different topics, and I think it did a good job about showcasing some of the reasons why you might want to use entities for a project.
I think that's great. And Vlad also calls out the yellow t-shirt looks great. I don't know if that was, it could have been pure coincidence. They weren't even here when I said it. They stepped in. This is the first time I've seen their name today.
Awesome.
So at least, corroborated for sure. Question to both the guests, Johnny and Danny. How would you convince someone to use ECS or Dots with Unity? If it's something, again, we've kind of talked about learning something new can be a big undertaking, and using what's familiar and you already have the knowledge base for can feel so much more comfortable. To kind of push outside that comfort with a little bit of risk reward attached to it, why should someone try to make that change?
I mean, I would personally say that there's like two main groups of people that want to learn entities. There's the ones that are specifically going for it because it's like very performant and like have a performance problem in their game, or they want to create something very large scale. That's like the one side of things. Then there's also just like people who want to write that type of code. A lot of ECS code lends well to roguelikes or gameplay where there's a lot of similar things but with slightly different behavior, or where you want like one object to play nicely with another object and like create systemic gameplay where things just like interact with each other to create new gameplay. Like that's the two main groups of people that want to learn entities.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reasons why.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the things that I think I've showcased on the Hot Path show a couple times is this like kind of combat system that I've built out. And you can basically use the ECS architecture to, add different components to, change functionality of different attacks and everything like that. So it ends up being like really modular and configurable. And because, ECS, you have that separation of your data from your systems that are actually, like running that logic. Things are separate, so you don't have this whole like nasty, nesty spaghetti web of dependencies or anything like that. And
Yeah, it becomes very easy to make code changes because you
Yes.
can both a system will just like transform some piece of data to another piece of data, and so as a result, like all your game object logic won't be like, oh, you hit the inventory, oh no, now all your on inventory changed events are going to get called, and those are going to call other methods, and those are going to call other methods. There's not really any side effects because you're just like looking at did this system turn this data into this data? If it didn't, then you need to write some different system code inside of it. And so it becomes like a very different way of architecting code in the end for your game.
Yeah. We talk all the time, and we've talked as early as the beginning of this stream, that whatever tools people use to create games, use ones that make sense for you. So there's
Totally.
very clearly use cases in which this is important. But again, the topic, and I don't want to dive more into it, but people always come in and they're like, Unreal's better. And we're like, neat. Like, if there is a tool that works better for you, use it. And if that's the case here with Dots and ECS, go and
Well,
take
I
a
mean,
look.
that even is kind of a lot of the, theory behind data-oriented design in general is just like making decisions in how you architect your game based off of, the actual problems that you're trying to solve.
Yeah, I think that's super important. We're going to take just a second to sidestep here because we're going to give away some stuff.
Oh,
you guys get to be a part
exciting.
of it.
Awesome.
Yes, indeedy. So what we are going to be doing right now is we are giving away 5 keys to a game called Void Crew.
Oh, I actually know this game.
Do you know this game? Tell me
Yeah.
about this game as I try to set this up.
Well, okay, so I don't know the game entirely, but I do know the guys who wrote it because I was doing a game jam with the guys. There was a popular game jam called Nordic Game Jam, and the makers are Hoodly Hood Games.
Say it one more time.
Hoodly Hood Games.
Hoodly Hood.
Yeah,
It's fun to say.
It's a
That
fun
is
word
fun
to
to
say.
say.
Yeah, but they were joining Nordic Game Jam, and so I ended up making a game in Dots with them.
In Dots.
Yeah, and
yeah.
we did a showcase on the Hot Path show of your game, right? And kind of went into some of the technical details on it.
Yeah. And that was actually some of these guys that you were giving keys away from.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I'm working to set this up. I'm running into technical issues, if we're being honest. It's a theme for the stream today.
Oh, that's great.
But I know that we have some trailers, so we can pull those up too. Oh, I'm on my way. Starting this giveaway. So if you would like to win a copy, hold on one sec. No, this is fine. It is, it's mislabeled, but that shouldn't affect you guys. If you would like to enter this giveaway, please head over to twitch.tv/unity. From there, you are able to input !giveaway. And from there, we're going to chat for probably the next 10 minutes or so. And then we're going to give away 5 different copies of Void Crew. So we've got the trailer rolling right now. This wasn't the result of the game jam, was it?
No.
I was like,
no.
whoa.
This is like a fully local co-op multiplayer game,
Yeah.
and it's really cool.
It is very, very cool. Unit Codes calls out a catchy name, and we're seeing a lot of people hopping in here. Again, if you are on the YouTube side, it'll take you about 30 seconds to head over to twitch.tv/unity to make an account and put in !giveaway. Everyone gets one opportunity to win, so don't feel the need to hop in there multiple times. Once again, we have 5 different keys to give away. On the topic of games, what have you been playing lately?
I recently got back into Minecraft.
Did
actually.
you?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I haven't played it in years, and I was like, okay, I want to play it. I've seen some cool stuff from it. It's been great.
Do you do the more like the free play mode or the survival or
the survival, specifically playing with like technical mods? Like a lot of games were actually inspired by those technical mods, and whenever I see them, it's so fun because you get to like automate things, and that's the sort of, it's almost like a data transformation. It's it's what I do, but in game form in a way.
I think that is interesting because Minecraft does essentially have so much like engineering to it. If you want to dive into that element, Minecraft's absolutely bonkers. Are you, as a player of Minecraft, excited for the Minecraft movie?
It looks something.
It looks like a movie.
with Jack Black as Steve.
It is a movie of all time.
It's I do want to watch it because it looks so cringeworthy that it might actually be fun. It actually looks fun in that way.
Yeah, I think it's tough to take that property specifically. Video game movies have had such a rocky road, right? For years, for decades, it was terrible. And then in the last few years, we've gotten things like Arcane, Fallout, we've gotten The Last of Us. So in terms of not necessarily just movies, but video game adaptations. And then we also got the Borderlands movie in the last month or two. And now we're looking into Minecraft. And I think what's difficult about converting a game to a movie is the best part about a game, even if the story is incredible, is the interactivity of it. So how do you take away that major feature and make it work, especially if it's a situation where these are iconic characters that people love and a story that people already know? So I think that who's done it best is typically taking a world that's been created and setting a new story in it. That's why I love Fallout. But with Minecraft,
I mean, the story is already kind of unwritten, so they can make anything out of it.
Blank canvas.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a very blank canvas. As long as they're killing the Ender Dragon in the end, that's the game.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's a good point. And honestly, most people who play Minecraft will never get to the point of chasing down the Ender Dragon. Like, that's just not a goal for them. It's such a creative sandbox, right? I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Gang, if you have a favorite video game adaptation, Unit Codes calls out Fallout. It was good. Please let us know in chat. It's something that I'm curious to see every time.
You know what also was a fun one?
Tell me.
The Twisted Metal Show. Did you see it?
I really want to, but I'm in Canada and Paramount Plus is weird licensing stuff, because there's that. And then on the same topic, there's a Knuckles TV show based off of
I really want to watch
Sonic.
that one too. Yeah.
And I'm curious. At first, I was like, I don't have any desire or need for this, even though it's Idris Elba, which is a wild get.
Right.
And then on the other side of it, apparently there's been just some episodes that are like completely like irreverent and just like way out there. Like there's someone who's just like a human in a Knuckles costume for like a full episode.
Ooh.
I don't know if I feel like I have a vague memory of it being like a musical episode or something.
Oh my god! What?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know. So it's really interesting. I'm really curious.
Did you ever watch the movies, like the Sonic movies?
I watched 1 and 2. Yep. I think I saw 2 like alone in theaters, which is like I enjoy going to the movies alone. So that was a super fun experience. But I liked them. What did you guys think?
Oh, I thought the movies were great.
Yeah.
No, I actually liked them. And like Jim Carrey just coming back for that was also such a fun twist.
It's so funny, right? Because we have the trailer now for Sonic 3.
Yeah.
And you're right. He came out, he was like, after Sonic 2, he's like, I retire. And we're like, whoa, okay. He's got like an art thing. I don't know if you know this. He's got like a studio in LA and he does a bunch of like paintings and things.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. But then he comes out of retirement for Sonic 3 and it's kind of just like, interesting. That's so strange. And then you see the trailer and he plays 2 characters. And it's kind of like this really strange moment where it's maybe not the case, but in my head to be able to like connect the dots of being like, oh, okay.
Connect
you get to
the
play
dots.
2.
Yeah,
That's your talk.
That's our talk.
Speaking of that, make sure to keep an eye on the Unity YouTube page for recorded sessions here from Unite being published in likely the next week or 2. There, see that? That's called a transition.
I like it.
Now, again, gang, we're going to keep this giveaway open for probably the next 5 minutes or so while we talk about video game movies. If you want your opportunity to win, make sure that you're watching on twitch.tv/unite and make sure to have an account active, logged in, and type in !giveaway for your opportunity. We also have mentions of the Mario movie, Battleship, Doom, the movie. And what else was on this side? Sen says the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders were fun, and I also like the first Hitman movie. I think that if you're a fan of games, there's, in a way, something for everyone in terms of adaptations. Like, if you're a fan of bad movies, you can find a ton of those too. Like some people just love being in like a group and being like, let's watch something stupid and eat popcorn and just joke about it, and it works well.
It's a fun night.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a lot to like here. There's also a mention of the first Pokemon movie. I don't know if you guys are Pokemon fans.
Of course.
Yeah.
Me,
really good
me
games.
as well. It's one of my most controversial takes that is a bad movie. And people get really mad about it. I'm a big Pokemon fan, but the first Pokemon movie is not a
I haven't
good
seen
film.
that in a very long time.
As a kid,
curious
I
to
loved
see.
it. I loved it as a kid.
As a kid, I did too.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
going to see it in theaters. I begged my parents to see it for weeks, and then I ended up going with like a daycare center or something because I was like, I don't know, 9. There's definitely some interest. I mean, people get really mad at me about it, but
Have you
I'll
watched
stand by it.
the Last of Us show?
Oh,
The
so
HBO
good.
show. Like it's so good. Yeah,
good.
Of course.
Unbelievable. And Pedro Pascal as Joel. For me, the
so
casting,
good.
I was like, I don't like this. My only exposure to Pedro Pascal ahead of time was the second Wonder Woman movie where he's a villain in it, and I was like, it was a bad movie, and I was like, this is terrible. Why are they bringing in this guy? It doesn't even make sense. And then so that was my first like experience, real one, because
Sure.
I think he's even been like, no, that wasn't good. But seeing him in The Last of Us, I was like, whoa, I'm all
Yeah,
in
he
on
crushed
Pedro
it.
Pascal.
You really nailed
right?
it. Yeah.
And some of it films for the second season in Vancouver, where I'm from.
Okay.
So there was a moment where it was in the news that they're like, hey, you can't go to this specific area of town. It's all shut down. And people went in and took pictures, and it's like apocalyptic. Like they ravaged the street or whatever.
kinda
right?
cool.
Yeah, it
Damn.
was super, super cool. John Olson calling out, I want an XCOM movie. I think that would be super fun.
Oh.
I would
Oh,
check that out
yeah.
for sure. Unit code says, 1984 Wonder Woman. Yeah, that. If you guys could pick any game to convert into a film or movie or TV series, what would you pick?
That's a very difficult question.
That's a difficult question.
It's the same level of difficulty. I ask people often, like, what's your favorite game? Just so we can know about you. And people are like, that's tough. And you think you should have a quick answer, but most of the time you don't.
there
Actually-
is an objective answer to that, and it's Tetris.
You have no idea how excited you just made me. We're going to play some Tetris later.
Yeah, no, for me it would be the Sly games. They were already very comic based,
Yeah.
and they did like a bunch of comics, and they even had a film in the works at some point, and then they canceled it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I would really love to see a Sly movie.
Sly Cooper?
Yeah, Sly Cooper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
I
long
like
as
that a
they keep the character looking the same, which they didn't for the movie trailer that they did.
Yeah.
Which just like they almost made them animalistic, so they look like animals.
Yeah, we kind of had that same thing in Sonic
Yes,
an extent.
exactly.
Except it was the other problem where they made he had human teeth, right?
Yes.
That was what everyone was really mad. And his eyes, like they tried to make him
yeah.
more human with the eyes and the teeth. And people were like, what is that? There's a theory, and let me know what you guys think about this theory, that was intentionally bad to drum up conversation.
I've heard of this theory.
What do you think?
I don't know.
But didn't they have to like delay the movie because they like
Yeah.
went they
But
What if? I'm gonna
if
put
that
my
was all-
tinfoil hat on. What if they
They're playing
needed it to
4D
delay the
chess.
movie anyways?
Okay.
And they were like, now we have an excuse that says we're listening to our community. We're hearing you.
That's
But maybe that's the fault of some of the marketing people inside of the company.
Yeah.
But I don't think it necessarily the animators knew.
That's a good point. I would feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I would feel really bad for them. Any animators, because they came under so much fire for that.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to give away these keys right here. If you guys would like to win, this is your last opportunity. Head over to twitch.tv/unity and put in !giveaway. And that will be your chance to win, because we're going to be closing entries in just a second here. I actually used my other hand. That was just for dramatic effect. And we're going to draw some winners. I'll let each of you draw one if you're happy to
Yeah.
make someone's
100%.
day.
Yeah.
I can draw one.
Perfect. So
Danny
we
with
are
the
going to pick
puns.
some winners. If you are watching in the Twitch stream, you will see the winners populate, but I'll read them out for you here. Our first winner is Riley Cyrus. Congratulations, friend of the show, Riley Cyrus. I'm very happy that you will have a second game to play. I know Riley doesn't play a lot of games.
Now voice proves
But now we have access to more and contractually obligated to play it now. So we need you to come back to a future stream and review it for us. You have to play it front to back.
Yes.
We're going to pull our second winner here, Alipios. Again, I really hope I'm saying that right with the amount of times, but congratulations. If I've said your name wrong repeatedly, allow this to be consolation. And our third winner here is Turtle, TERTLE underscore. Are you
that's
friends
a
with Turtle?
Turtle? Oh, yeah,
Turtle
yeah.
friend of the show?
He's like the main poster on like Unity discussions and the Unity forum when it comes to Dutch content. Like,
So Turtle should be a name that I should know at this point.
almost, yeah. Yeah.
Well, now I
you will
do.
see him throughout the forums.
Now
he's a great
do.
guy.
That's great. I love that. And again, if you're upholding the pillar of this community and that you are out there looking to help people, you have my heart. And I want you to know that. Again, winners, I will be reaching out to you via Twitch DMs from the Unity account following the show. Please give me like 24 to 48 hours because I'm tired. But I'm going to slide my laptop over to you guys. You got a pick winner button here on the right, and each of you can pick one.
Awesome.
Give it a go.
Go for it, Danny. You're up.
Pick winner.
What do we got?
Okay, it says Ben Unity 3D.
Really? We got a Unity 3D person?
Yeah.
Cool. Ben Unity 3D, congratulations. I'm very excited for you. And our final
right.
winner.
Picking the winner here. Dun, dun, dun.
What do we got?
Senecon.
Oh, I know a Sen as
right?
well. Another friend of the show, Senecion.
Senecion.
Congratulations, everybody. I'm going to be sending those codes to you in the next day or so. Sen says, woo! So you've made Sen's day, it appears. Congratulations. Thank you for that, Johnny. Okay, so we got those 5. Just collecting myself, apologies, and taking a look at chat. This was my favorite thing. It happened yesterday as well. People are very excited for each other winning. I've been doing giveaways online for some time and seeing the saltiness that some people carry. Rough, but these people are like, "Congratulations, you did it!"
I feel like the game dev community is just so positive in general. Everyone's like willing to help each other, contribute.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've always wanted that. I've always wanted in my head to be like, everyone just be nice to each other. And coming here, that seems to be the case for the most part, aside from people who are like, the other one is better, which is not the case. You know what I mean?
It's always great to be at these events, be around people,
Yeah.
and especially like, us as content creators, we're doing our stuff, from our homes and just kind of, broadcasting it out online. And it's really cool to like, meet people who, watch our content and all this and come up to you. Like, I feel like it kind of like, re-energizes you when you like talk to them about the projects they're working on and say, you were showing me this thing that inspired this project that I was working on. And
of course.
it's great.
Showing things on their phones and like.
Yeah.
We went to a student mixer and people were showing portfolios, and we had
Right.
some of our Unity representatives giving notes and like telling them how to improve it, which is super cool. And I want to say hey to Slays God and Miss Thierry and Unerif. I hope I'm getting that right on the Twitch side. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. Peter Lee asks a fantastic question. When can we watch the tech-related videos? When will they be uploaded? So we've touched on this a couple of times, including our current guests. Danny did a talk here about dots as well. Many of these sessions have been recorded. They will be uploaded. The timeline that we're expecting is another week or 2, as there needs to be some edits done before that upload happens. But keep an eye out on the official Unity YouTube page for your opportunity. And while you're there, head on over to Turbo Makes Games and check out Johnny's channel. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for joining us, for sharing our passions and your insights and your experience here. It's been incredible. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you guys
Jackson,
very
thanks
much.
for having us. This is a great setup here. Really cool live stream. And
Yeah,
it's,
it looks
awesome
very
to be
awesome.
part of this.
Yeah.
I appreciate you both so very much, and hopefully I'll see you guys, well, hopefully before next Unite, but at the very least, hopefully at the next Unite.
Awesome.
All right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your event.
See you, everybody.
Woo!
See ya.
And with that, we are going to slowly transition into our next segment. Of course, if you have just joined us, you may have missed some things. You may be a little curious. You may be a little uncertain. But what I want to tell you all is that we are here in Barcelona for Unite Day 2. And we are giving you a little taste of Unite And what does that mean for you? Well, this is very conversational, very laid back, very informal in a sense, way for us to connect our community. We want to bring everybody together. We want everyone to chat. We are watching you live as well. You've got your Twitch and YouTube chats. Whichever one you are watching on, we're paying attention. Ask questions. Give us your comments. Let us know, especially for our guest that may be exceptionally knowledgeable. My name is Jackson. I'm one of your community managers. I'm responsible for all of the live stream content, both here on twitch.tv/Unity, as well as the official Unity YouTube page. And we are working hard to bring you a more consistent, awesome schedule of content. So we are aiming to stream at least once a week, and we would be thrilled. Bye, everybody. Bye, Johnny. Bye, Danny. We would be thrilled if you would come and join us for whatever piece of content you find interesting. Again, we're live yesterday for 4 hours. We're live here today for 3. Most of our streams are about 90 minutes, so a lot more digestible. And you can come and hang out. We tend to give you guys all of the knowledge that you need to know about what we're talking about, the topics ahead of time. If you are curious to know what our schedule looks like, there is a channel in our Discord page, and there's a handy little role that you can give yourself there as well, so that we are able to let you know when we do go live. It is my job to bring the community together in this way, so by golly, I hope it works, and I hope that you guys come and hang out. Before we transition into our next guest here, we got a fun little ad read for you all. Freeman, are we ready on the button? Yes, here we go, everybody. This is for the money. A big thank you to Meta for sponsoring Unite. Unleash your creativity and bring your ideas to life with MetaQuest and Unity. Every headset is a developer kit, allowing you to create immersive XR experiences that captivate and inspire. With the now open Meta Horizon store, any developer can easily distribute your app to a wide audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be at the forefront of the XR revolution. Revolution. So there you go. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And if that's something that might appeal to you, go and check it out. I've said repeatedly, use what works for you. And Unerif, thank you for complimenting my water bottle. I'll be honest, I got this very cool sticker, and then I bought a water bottle to match it so that I could put it on there. And speaking of cool, I'm very excited to speak to our next guest, as they are a bit of a legend in the industry. Please welcome to the show, we've got Raph Koster. Welcome on in. How are you?
I'm really tired.
I can imagine. What we're going to do before we even dive in, we're going to get you to lean right up on your microphone as much as possible.
As close as possible.
Exactly. Like you're going to try and take a bite out of it. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's safe.
Well, I mean, you know what? We'll replace it. It's fine, Raph. You can do whatever you want here. You're tired. I'm tired. Are you jet lagged? Where are you based?
I'm based in San Diego, California.
Oh, very nice.
Yep. And I got here, I guess, on Tuesday morning.
Oh.
But really, it's been the jam-packed schedule at Unite.
Yeah.
That's what's worn me out.
Perfect. Well, again, we're here to talk about Unite. We can talk about you, your industry experience, your impressive resume, all of those things. But let's start at Unite. Have you been to a Unite event in the past? Is this your first one?
This is my first one.
And what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's busy.
Yeah.
Busy and stimulating, right? There's so much going on. There's so many talks. There's so many people to talk to. And I often find that to actually be more interesting than the talks themselves, right? The stuff in the hallways or the people you meet randomly at the lunch table because that's where there was a seat open, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's super. You touched on it very, very well. I think that the opportunity to connect is almost like underrepresented in the lead up. Like you hear about all of the talks and you're booking in your sessions, and then you arrive and you're like, oh, the hour I had between all of those sessions where I just wandered around and connected with people, that was the thing I enjoyed most, which was super fun.
Yeah. It's harder to put in a little directory in the, abstract. random time in hallway.
Yeah.
You know, like doesn't read well, but
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about you to kind of paint the picture for people. And someone else has already called it out in chat. Shout out to Sen on the Twitch side, says, a theory of fun for game design was super fun. You have written a book, again, a theory of fun for game design. You've presented at GDC. You've been at the head of many very impressive games, Ultima Online, Star Wars Galaxies, among many. This is, like I said, a human with a resume. You are currently working on your next game, Stars Reach.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
it is a massively multiplayer sandbox. Right? So
like-
yet another MMO.
Exactly.
I've been doing them
Seems
for
like
30
your vibe.
years.
If you're doing them well, keep doing them.
Keep doing them. So it's one of those for sure. In some ways, it's the spiritual successor to that sandbox MMO tradition.
Cool.
Which, you know, these days we see a lot of the theme park style more. But we're pushing it further. We are bringing in like levels of simulation that have literally never been seen in a game before. Some people are kind of calling it like No Man's Minecraft of the Wild, kind of like we're bringing all of those kinds of things
Combine 'em
together.
all.
Yeah, fully modifiable environments, chemical reactions between different materials. Players can sculpt the environment. They can pave over entire planets.
Wow.
Like living galaxy is what we're calling it.
That is incredibly ambitious. And I know you mentioned No Man's Sky as kind of your combination of things. I wish you the best of luck in your launch and hope that you don't have to spend 7 years apologizing the way No Man's Sky did.
We're 5 years in already.
Good.
So now we're in pre-alpha testing now, so we're taking feedback from players as we go.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the time we actually release, we'll have gotten all the feedback and fixes out of the way. That's the goal.
What I love about game design, and I'm new to it, for context, as we've just met, I'm a community manager. I've worked in the games industry, but not on the game development or creation side. But listening to people talk about their inspirations and what helps drive forward their creative process is always very interesting to me. And I find a lot of times you're trying to emulate your heroes. You're trying to look at the things that you love, take those, and then innovate off of those. But you've always seemed to be at kind of the forefront of pushing the envelope. Where do you find the inspiration for yourself?
A lot of it is from outside of games.
Yeah.
Right? I've been making games. I don't know. Shout out to the chat. I don't know how many 12 to 14-year-olds maybe we have watching. But
Right.
I got started making games for classmates when I was around 12.
That's great.
Putting them in Ziploc baggies and selling them, right? And trying to sell them. I sold one. Right?
That's enough. That was a start.
That was my first
That
sale.
was a
That's right.
start.
My first professional credit.
Absolutely.
Right? But that means that a lot of the inspirations, you know, the games at the time, this was like, we're talking in the Atari, Commodore 64 period. This is the early 80s, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of my game design heroes were people who designed arcade games, the early computer games, the 8-bit games. And, you know, I still pull inspiration from those things today all the time, right? It's sometimes easier to see how mechanics work when they're not surrounded by everything modern around them.
Yeah.
You can see kind of the pure core, you know?
Interesting, yeah.
But in terms of other inspirations, I go to the real world. I look for how things function in the real world. You know, the world is full of systems, all kinds of systems, right? Weather systems, financial systems, how chemistry works, whatever it is, right? And I try to find ways to model pieces of that into game systems, even if they don't end up being copies of, like, I might steal something from a weather system and put it in the game, but it'll be used to drive NPC AI, not to drive the weather, right? So just finding interesting, like, system dynamics, I guess, is how I'd put it.
I think that's really interesting. I know your background, you initially had a degree in English and Spanish, and then a second degree in poetry.
That's right.
So you definitely have this like really unique perspective, and we're seeing it in just how you responded to that question. How do you go from studying those specific topics and then land yourself in game design?
So the ones that you don't know about, I was one class shy of a major in music theory and composition, and one class shy of a minor in studio art.
That's great.
So
right?
I pretty
The
much
artistic
studied,
brain.
I like studied all the arts basically,
Yeah.
but I was a self-taught programmer starting on, you know, basic in the early 80s. to me, the thing that I love about working in games is actually that I get to hop across all the disciplines. Yeah. I think I'd go mad if I were stuck in just one, right? So, I studied those different things because I was interested in them, and I read all kinds of things because I'm interested in them, and then it all goes into the stew for the games, right? If games ever get to one note for me, then I'll just hop tracks, basically, right?
Yeah.
And like when I get stuck on designing games, and I hop back and forth to tabletop and to puzzle games and not just MMOs, right? I'll move around, and then every once in a while I go, I can't work on this anymore. I'm going to go record a concept album, or I'm going to go, put out a book or whatever. And then I come back to games. Otherwise I get, antsy.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the creative mind, that is something that I hear so frequently, is being able to sit and do one thing for an extended period just doesn't work. You got to engage all of your different passions in all these different areas. Unit Codes in the YouTube chat says, please convey my thanks to Mr. Raph. His work has been amazing, and I would love to thank him for all his efforts. So being able to kind of see and inspire, hold on, can we get the coverage just so that, perfect. There you go. Of course. And being able to speak to inspiring other people, and you did ask, do we have any 12 to 14 year olds? And we have seen people come in that are like, hey, I'm 10, I'm 12, I'm 15, and I just started with Unity. Do you have any just broad advice to people looking to start this as a career for themselves?
Oh gosh. So the first thing is, don't get into this as a career if you're thinking about it as a career. Think of it. It better be your passion, because this business can be tough, right? Certainly. It can be tough,
especially this year.
It's not a tech business, right? And I think a lot of people who aren't as in touch with games think of it as a tech kind of job, and it's not. It's arts, and that means it has all the weird ups and downs, and it has the indie artist starving in Garrett thing, and it has the 50 callbacks and no casting thing, and all of those things happen in games. You know, it really is like being an indie musician or an aspiring actor or whatever. And yeah, some people end up in the studio movies, and some people don't, and so on, right? But there's always more slots, more people than slots, and it's just a thing. So do it for yourself. Do it because you crave it and you want it and it's your passion. And then, you won't necessarily be disappointed if you don't get to go work on your dream game or franchise or whatever, because it's more important that you do it for yourself. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and gosh, I'm here with Unity, so don't take this wrong.
Oh, say about
those
any
of you,
platform.
those of you who are learning, pick whichever one vibes with you. It's more important that you get that you get to learn the patterns of programming, the patterns of game design, than it is you learn any particular language or framework or whatever. If you're in this for a while, you're going to go through a dozen languages, 30,000 frameworks, and 100 fads, And so the principles that you learn carry over, whether it's to Unity or to some other engine or whatever. I do think there's a lot of value, actually, particularly for folks who are technologists, but also I think for everybody, really. There's a lot of value in doing some of the, call it almost the scut work programming, it really doesn't hurt. Go write a UI system once. Nobody likes doing it.
Yeah.
and other people have done it for you. And yes, in your games, you're probably just going to take a better one that somebody else did.
Right.
But give it a shot. Do that once. Try throwing 1,000 sprites on screen once. Grab, SDL or something and get lower level once in a while. Explore kind of the space. It doesn't mean you won't end up working in a great, integrated tool framework like Unity, but having the experience and knowing what's under the hood will make you better.
Yeah. And I think such sound advice. It seems like I asked for such a broad question, and you really brought it. I really appreciate that. People seem to really be connecting with it as well. Lurking Ninja says that's a fact. Languages and especially frameworks come and go. Learning everything, trying to diversify your knowledge set, and I really appreciate you trying to be like a near Unity loyalist. But we've talked about it today. We talked about it yesterday. Using whatever tool works for you is kind of the right way. And myself as a representative of Unity, and hopefully no one comes after me for this later because I've said it so many times, but people come in and will say Unreal's better. And we're like, okay, if it's better for you, then it doesn't matter. Use the tool that's right for the job. And I think it is hard to kind of do everything. Where do you kind of find the motivation to continuously try to push the envelope for the industry?
Oh gosh. Well, when you mentioned use the right tool, I think that's a key thing. Like heck, even Unity, frankly, Unity 1 versus Unity today, they're different things pretty much end to end, right? For me, I always start at the game end, and then I try to find the tech that suits. And for me in particular, if I'm working with big, ambitious things like MMOs, that often means inventing the tech.
Of course.
It won't exist.
Yeah.
For every one of the MMOs I've done, we had to engage in really significant technology invention. When we did Ultima Online ages ago, we basically had to invent server meshing. It was the first time that a game had broken the 250 concurrent in one map.
Whoa.
And we had to invent a way to make have separate servers cover different parts of the map and mirror the information across the boundary. And we had a pile of firsts in UO, right? Like house decorating, fishing, crafting, player housing. Most guild systems today in games are based on the one in UO and so on. And for pretty much all of these, there were antecedents in other games and text muds, especially before MMOs. On Galaxies, we had to ship 16 planets with 1 meter height field resolution, each of them 16 kilometers on a side, and there weren't DVD drives widely available yet.
Yeah.
It was 4 gigabytes of map data, and we couldn't afford to stuff that many CDs in the box.
Right.
So we had to invent procedural terrain technology that could generate the environment around you on the fly as you moved around, and each planet became 30K on disk. Of just rules, right?
Wow.
But we couldn't make the game we were making if we didn't invent solutions, right? And I always look for what is the fresh, unique gameplay. If I stay inside the bounds of the engine or the platform or whatever it is, then I'm not going to be able to do something that sticks out as nobody else is doing that, right? So we're doing the same thing with Stars Reach. We use Unity for rendering and networking and physics simulation, but we actually don't use it for gameplay logic and for kind of our centerpiece feature, which is our world simulation. We actually run those as microservices outside of Unity Game Server
Right.
in order to really do kind of crazy innovative stuff with it.
I think that's very fascinating. People, again, are very, very excited for the insights that you're sharing. Simon Guile says, huge fan of Ultima Online, almost failed my grades because of it.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But it's actually interesting. My boss is also a longtime industry veteran with big accolades to their name that people can really connect with. Is there any one thing that at the end of your career you want to have as like a lasting memory?
A memory of mine?
Yeah.
Or other people's
impact.
memory of me.
Yeah, like an impact of the industry that people really kind of hold up on a mantle.
So in the end, I actually think, I've thought about this a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been now doing this for 30-ish years, and frankly, not that many game careers last that long.
Yeah,
It's not that common anymore. Mm-hmm. And the games, they go, right? Like, it isn't even all that common an aspiration to make a game that, like in the last session, Tetris came up, right? Of all the games out there, much as we might love Sly Cooper or Portal or, Tears of the Kingdom or whatever classic it might be, will it be remembered in 500 years? Right. Dude, Tetris will be left standing, but I don't know if anything else will.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so there's that kind of like, in some ways we do work in a somewhat ephemeral thing, right? And it doesn't feel ephemeral when you're in the middle of a console generation, but it does after 30 years, okay? And I go, okay, well, Ultima Online's still running. It's been 26 years, but most of your audience hasn't played it unless they're of a certain age, right?
Simon did so much that he almost failed.
Of a certain age, spoilers,
of course.
And, younger kids aren't going to come to it. It looks too old. The QOL isn't there, blah, 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 right? Others of my games have shut down already. That's just life. The thing that for me is going to end up being the legacy is actually the other devs, right? Like that's what it ends up being. It ends up being the contributions from publicly failing in public and sharing the lessons, occasionally succeeding in public and sharing the lessons, and explaining why it isn't necessarily replicable because a giant amount of it is luck. And the book is going to, Theory of Fun is going to end up mattering more in terms of, a career in a lot of ways than all the games. And that depresses me, but I'll take it.
Yeah. I think I don't know that that's necessary. I mean, you feel how you feel. If it depresses you, that's fine. But I think that's such like an incredible outlook and approach to the industry that not necessarily the product you created, but the knowledge that you've imparted on people is what you want to be your lasting legacy.
Yeah, it's how to put this, man.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot with difficult emotions.
No, it's just, you just called like the passion work product. And and that's the thing. It isn't, right? Like it takes an enormous amount of like emotional commitment and grit to actually see any of these things through. Mm-hmm. And in the end, you don't want it to be product. You want it to touch people and resonate and all of that. And, I've been lucky enough to have that. I've been lucky enough to have the people who come up to me and say, I got married because of your game. Yeah. Or, my kids are named after things in your game. Or, whatever. Things like that where you really did like touch somebody, right? Yeah. I've had that and it's amazing. And then you realize, and that will fade in like another 10, 15 years, right? Yeah. Like that's what culture is like. Stuff fades, right? Yeah. But it fades, but it also kind of like accretes and layers on over time, and people build on other people's work. And in the end, what you hope for is that you have been appropriately squished and stood upon, and there won't be much left of you, but at least everybody else is a little higher up.
I've waxed poetic about this repeatedly, but being able to discuss people's passions with them in this format is something that I'm so grateful for. And it emanates off of you, the passion that you speak with. So I'm already so grateful. We've still got kind of another 10 minutes here to chat.
Sure.
But already,
community work is even more ephemeral.
It's a unique beast, to say the absolute least. With so many kind of accolades to your name and a reputation that reverberates throughout the industry, you have a book, you've done multiple talks. Like you said, you've started to impart knowledge and wisdom and experience on people. Is there anything on your to-do list that you haven't started trying to tackle already?
Oh, I haven't. Well, the public hasn't seen a bunch of stuff. I've been doing tabletop design for years now. And I don't have the time to actually engage in the business of pursuing tabletop. Yeah. But it was a bucket list item. I did actually get one tabletop game out in 2020, which meant it came out right in the teeth of COVID and sank without a trace.
When people can't
exactly
gather to play board games, that's tough.
I'm going to guess nobody in chat has any idea that it happened, but I've got a backlog of like 15 or 20 that have been out there getting play tested for literally a couple decades now.
That's incredible.
And so that's a bucket list item. I really enjoy puzzle game design. One of the things that is it's an aspiration, right? I want to make something that can last like Tetris. And I don't think it would be an MMO. I don't think it would be a narrative game or whatever. I think that the kinds of games that last that way are games that people can take and reskin and clone and put through the folk process and you know, and so I spent a lot of time kind of boiling down game mechanics into their essence, and then I get a lot of talks out of that. But I've done a lot of like puzzle game design and strategy game design that's all about how do I make something insanely deep with only 3 rules or with only 4 tokens or that kind of thing. And I have a huge backlog of those just sitting in notes and on my hard drive and in prototypes and whatever. And I'd love to get some of those out someday. I just, you know, I got to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting. You have such a unique perspective of like the artistic approach to things, which is inevitably ingrained in game design. But again, with your artistic studies and background and those types of things, your approach seems so unique. And I'm in the middle of a conversation, excited that I'm in this conversation. I mentioned to a colleague, a friend of mine, that we were going to be sitting down and chatting, and immediately their eyes kind of lit up. And they were familiar with your work, with your chats in the past. I think they fall into the group of people that you've imparted your knowledge and wisdom on. So I think that's incredible. And I asked them, if you could ask Raph one question, what would you ask? And unfortunately, it's not as great as I wanted it to be, but for Kirk, we will ask, with all of your knowledge and wisdom and experience and your ability to kind of use any of these tools, what about Unity in 2024 gives you some sort of desire to work with it the way that you are with Stars Reach?
So I think the first thing I've got to clarify, I run the studio.
Sure.
I never get to sit down and open Unity and type code myself anymore. Right. You know, most of my work ends up being telling other people, do this in Unity right now. The reason we ended up choosing Unity for this project, and we did evaluate like in depth, right? We evaluated a bunch of technologies. Actually had to do with how Unity's architecture works, right? Unlike other engines, Unity is, it's made to be more modular, right? Like we are doing things with our terrain system in Stars Reach. Terrain engine in Unity can't do it. Right. It's just not built to do it, right? Yep. Like it's a height field system. We're doing something that uses surface net rendering more like a voxel system with an underlying simulation that is actually, brace yourself for terms, cellular automata simulation.
Whoa.
So it's think Noita, but in full 3D, used to build entire MMO environments. Okay, that's kind of what we're doing. And, you know, nothing wrong with the terrain system in Unity, but it isn't that, right?
Yep.
And a lot of our selection of the engine had to do with what's one that we can like pull out the carburetor and replace it, you know, like replace chunks of the engine, right? So we actually use our own entire game logic and scripting system that we've put in there in order to achieve MMO scalability. And we use that simulation system, and that's a microservice running in the cloud and all these fancy buzzwords. But it would have been much harder to do that in another engine or framework because of how Unity's set up. It's meant for you to add your own tools into the tool chain, replace pieces and parts, you know, we can go to the asset store and find things that help us, you know, pry one thing out and put another thing in. Right?
Yeah.
So all of those kinds of things were the reasons that we ended up choosing it. I'm a fan of choose the right tool for the job. If that had turned out to be, writing bare metal code, then we would have done that. The simulation is a great example of that. We did our first prototype of it. I did a 2.5D prototype myself in like one of those indie basic development languages. Then we moved it to C++ DLL, and we said that's not fast enough. So then we moved it into Unity, and then we said, wow, that's still not fast enough. Then we moved it into Burst and Jobs and ECS, and we're like, now we're getting somewhere, but We need it faster and bigger. So then we moved it out of Unity again. Now it's in Rust running on the cloud. And we're going, great, we can see the end from here. We're going to end up porting it straight to GPU, and it's going to be running as a compute shader, right?
Whatever the right tools are.
Whatever the right tool that solves your design problem.
Yeah. I think that's incredible. Thank you for your insight. We've had another person join our Twitch chat since we've been chatting. Rogue Wolf Dev was like, oh, who are we chatting to? Someone let them know, and they're like, oh, wait, I've already read that book. So they're very familiar. Gang, we're kind of coming towards the end of our time here, but we've been chatting with Raph, Koster, the CEO of Playable Worlds. You've got a new game coming out. It's in pre-alpha right now.
That's right.
So if people wanted to go and find it, get a hold of it, where could they find more about Stars Reach?
Thing to do is go sign up to join the mailing list and get in the pre-alpha tester queue on starsreach.com.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay in closer touch than just a periodic newsletter, then join the Discord. There's a few thousand people in there already chatting madly away. The NDA for the pre-alpha is mostly lifted at this point, so feel free to ask away. People will share screenshots, tell you about their adventures. We're currently scaling up the testing, letting in a few hundred people every couple of weeks and just expanding it because we're doing the early stress testing of server capacity and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the website has lore, it has all kinds of stuff. You can learn about the game. And we did just release a video of our latest visual updates, and you can just look for Visuals Update 1, Stars Reach on YouTube.
Cool.
And should be able to see what the game is looking like now and what some of the gameplay is.
That's super exciting. Again, many people coming in to say, this is super interesting. Thank you for sharing. And I mentioned it, I interrupted myself to say how excited I've been to have this conversation with you. So Raph, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know you've already expressed how tired you are from this event, but to come and sit down with me, I'm honored. Thank you very, very much.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And everybody, please go and check out Stars Reach. Find them wherever you possibly can and stay up to date on that development process. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your time in Barcelona.
Thank you.
Of course. Gang, we are going to change gears once again. We're going to be bringing in some new guests in just a moment here. But if you have wandered in the middle of this stream and you're like, what is happening? I want to say, hey, my name's Jackson. I'm a community manager here at Unity. My responsibility is these live streams on both twitch.tv/Unity and on the Unity YouTube page. We are bringing you a whole variety of content week to week, but right now we are in Unite 2024 in Barcelona, and we are bringing you a little taste of that event. This is day 2. We will be live for about another hour. And we are bringing in different guests, as you can see, to talk about different things. This is a very conversational, very laid back, very informal approach. And I'm very, very excited to have each and every one of you here. This is a live stream. This is not a recorded video. So if you are tuning in like Dennis McVeigh or Lurking Ninja or Dragon Spirit Games or Honest Monk, feel free to hop in chat wherever you're watching. Ask some questions, say hello, and connect with your fellow community members. I think that's such an important part of this event, is that we are able to bring people together, and it's something that I want to help accomplish here in this stream as well. So you are not alone. You are not watching a VOD. You are hanging out with real people and talking about things happening in Unity, Unite, game dev, playing games. We talked about video game movies earlier. Whatever you guys want, we are probably willing to talk about it. And again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We were live for 4 hours yesterday. We'll be live for 3 today. Like I said, we've got about an hour left. We're taking off next week from content, but we are looking to put out essentially 1 stream a week. We'll have different guests, we'll have different topics, we'll have different content, and I will be here to hang out with you pretty much every step of the way. So what I would love to hear from you, and we've done this once or twice already, but if you are tuning in, and if this is your first time, welcome. But if it's not even, I'm curious to know where in the world you are tuning in from as a community manager. Bringing in people from all over the world has been incredibly exciting, and being able to see where people are tuning in from is also super awesome. At an event like Unite, we've met people from all over the world, and it's just the way that games reach out and connect people is so exciting. Dragon Spirit Game says, sometimes I feel a little alone. Unfortunately, I work on making a fully accessible game outside of working hours and social life, and it can be extremely lonely. Dragon Spirit, you're here among friends. I totally understand that instinct. I totally understand that byproduct as a portion of your work. So be able to connect with people wherever you can. I know we've talked about different Unity spaces as well. We've got our Discord, and of course, we've got discussions.unity.com. There's a lot of people very eager to help each other in those spaces, which is super fun. There's people helping problem solve, but at the very least, you have the opportunity to connect with others. And if that's what you're looking for, that's what we're here to do. A shout out to Intended Pun and Shiny Games on the Twitch side. Thank you for being here. Rogue Wolf Dev says, I found Discord helps alleviate that a little bit, which I think is fantastic. Find your community spaces wherever you can. We've got Jose tuning in from Portugal, and Dennis is in New Jersey, USA. I spent some time in East Rutherford as well as Newark. Shout out to New Jersey. I had good barbecue there. That's my lasting memory. Ill-Tempered Tuna says, hey, just want to say I'm pleasantly surprised by the caliber of this new live team. You guys are killing it. I'm looking forward to you guys getting some well-deserved numbers in the future. Thank you very much, Tuna. I really appreciate you saying that. We're working hard for it, and we're grateful that people are connecting with it in any way, because that's what I do. I want to connect people. Will the Student Benefits Program expanded so that students of CodeMonkey and Co. would apply for it as well? Skydriver, I'm not the right person to ask that question necessarily in terms of getting you the answer right off the top of my head. I would suggest maybe going through the discussions. People there will definitely have answers for you. To the best of my knowledge right now, you have to have a registered student ID in a post-secondary, I believe, for that specific program. But again, you'll be able to find a lot more resources on the Unity page. And I can't speak necessarily to future plans either. Dennis is tuning in at 8:03 a.m. So thank you for waking up early and spending some time with us. We've got some very cool guests that we will be bringing on in just a moment here with some very fun stories. We are almost ready. Thank you all one more time for being here and hanging out. Please excuse if you hear clacking in my microphone. I'm chain smoking halls is what's happening. I've been live for 6 hours in the last 2 days, and it's all I can do to maintain a voice. And I appreciate each and every one of you. We've got Aya in here as well. Shout out to the content creator legend. It's great to have you here. On the Twitch side, we've got Mama is a fan. Hanging out at TwitchCon right now. So I like that you're getting a little piece of two cons at the same time. We really appreciate that. Freeman, how are we looking? We feeling good? We're ready to go? We are almost ready to go. We've got a minute or two. Aya, you're not here at Unite, are you? I know that when we had the keynote yesterday, I was watching and moderating chat, and we had CodeMonkey, one of our biggest insiders, content creators for Unity, who was in the audience also responding to chat, which was super fun. It was very good time. Digital Breed says, hi, Jackson. Maybe give a call out to the devs on chat and ask them to link their Unity games, post some links. I don't want to flood the chat with links right now, but we do have spaces for you all to submit your work and share it. We even have streams where we highlight different people's work. So look for those opportunities. I'd recommend that you go and check out the Discord as well as the discussions page, and we will find an opportunity to play some of those games in future, including we're going to be playing some Game Jam games at the end of the year here in early December. But right now, I would like to welcome to the show. I almost said back to the show because we've interacted before, but this is the first time we're actually seeing each other in person, but I've had to ignore them while they're sitting here for the last few minutes. But please welcome Chris and Emily to the show. How are you guys?
Hello.
Good. As we dive in here, I'm going to get you to get right up on your mics as if you're going to try and take a bite out of them. You can feel free to move them however you feel the need to, but let's just get as close to them as we can. Now, before we dive into anything else, how are things?
They're good. We just finished the presentation, so.
And so you had a session. How'd it go?
It went pretty well. We had a good Q&A session afterwards.
Great.
So
Some curious minds.
Yeah.
Great. Now, for people that don't know, you both work at Scopely. You both work on Marvel Strike Force. Yep. And I have to share with you before we dive any deeper that my previous job was working for your competitor. I worked on Marvel Contest of Champions. So being able to talk to you and hype up your game brings me such joy. No idea. So I keep referring to it as the #1 Marvel mobile game in my heart because it was full of propaganda for the last few years. But what is it like for you guys working on something that has reached so many people? Mobile gaming is really unique in the sense that it's accessible to nearly everybody. And Marvel is such a just kind of, it pulls everybody. So what's that experience like, knowing how many people your work has been in front of?
I try not to think about it too much.
I'm sorry that I immediately put it on your radar.
No, it's more like it is a huge franchise, and when you look at the scale of like how many people actually play it, and you're working on like a character, for instance,
Yeah.
and like that one character is being viewed and played by millions of people. It's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
Like you start to look at the little fine details and I'm like, did I really button that up properly?
Yeah, of course. What about you?
It's a lot of fun getting to work on a Marvel game.
Sure.
I love the Marvel movies. So I really enjoy it. But yeah, it's definitely trying to, always get the updates out really nicely, provide new content for our players.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of a live service game that updates so frequently as well, is that the wheels never stop. Do you guys feel a level of stress with that, or have you kind of acclimatized to it over the years?
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of normal now.
Okay, good.
We're always working on something new. Always trying to get something new out for the players.
Yeah, it's fun because like you get your regular characters, like, they're pretty basic for the most part. They just fly or punch people, but then you have your crazy ones that have like tentacles coming out or they shoot fire all of a sudden. So it's like
We talked about what was your favorite symbiote? Silver Surfer?
yeah, we call him Void Knight in our game.
Void Knight.
Officially, it's just the code name is Symbiote Silver Surfer for us on
Cool.
the dev side. But yeah, he's Silver Surfer who's been taken over by a symbiote. So he has like tentacles coming out of him and his board. He's got his lance and stuff. It's nuts.
It's very cool. So you mentioned that you are a fan of the Marvel films. Are you kind of Marvel stans through and through, or is this something that's kind of developed once you got your foot in the door and started working on a Marvel product?
I was a Marvel fan beforehand.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was like interviewing with the company, I was like, this is cool. This is a cool game to work on.
It's a cool prospect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, same. I was a Marvel kid growing up, so to like do this for a living is kind of a dream come true. Like I'm just bringing these characters to life all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I never thought I would get to touch Doc Ock, for example. It's like put him on a mobile game. Like that's really cool to me.
Yeah. Again, gang, we are talking to Chris and Emily from Scopely, who work on Marvel Strike Force, which you are seeing on screen. If you have any questions for them, please let us know in chat. We would love to pass that along and be a beacon of that knowledge. So you guys did a presentation earlier. This was on URP?
Yes.
Did I get it right? Okay, good. Because I just know from our last conversation, we were talking about URP. I was like, that's probably what we were talking about. We don't have to get into the nitty gritty of that conversation. But to you guys, where do you kind of find that value? And if we've seen this kind of question come through the chat a couple of times where they were like, if you were to encourage someone to start using this as a tool, we've talked a lot about use the right tools for you. What do you think you would use to let someone know that this would be the right tool for them? What would kind of that test look like?
I think it's a great option for any new projects going forward, because Unity's continuing to develop this. They have a lot of features on the roadmap that are going to get added. Some features I'm looking forward to, especially in Unity 6. I caught the graphics, the graphics specific presentation that they did.
You saw the full session of it.
Yeah, I went to that yesterday.
Great.
So lots of exciting features coming there. So yeah, I think it's going to be great for new projects going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bull's asking here, did you start in mobile prior to working on this game? Have you worked in other mobile studios? Do you have a background that extends to more, let's call it traditional gaming? Or was mobile kind of through and through for you?
I definitely didn't start with mobile. I started with just PC games, and then I went to film for a little bit, doing previous work, and now back in games, but doing mobile. So it was a really interesting transition going from typical traditional games to mobile because of especially live service. It's like you said, it's a train it's nonstop moving all the time. So
yeah, of course. What about for you?
I've only ever worked on Marvel Strike Force.
Whoa.
I started as an intern 6 years ago. So I started on features and gameplay, and then decided to shift my focus to graphics about 2 years ago, I think, 3 years ago.
6 years on the same game.
Yep.
That's super interesting. I love being able to talk to people about their passions, their story, their kind of their path in life and how they got to where they are. But for you guys, let's take maybe just a step back. Can you tell everybody what your actual responsibilities on the project is? We can get started with you if you want.
Yeah. I'm the senior graphics engineer. So most recently doing the URP transition, getting us over to that render pipeline. And then mostly just trying to make the game look as cool as possible, give the artists the tools that they need, add new effects, things like that, and make sure the game is running well.
That's great.
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm the lead technical artist on Strikeforce, and this is always a tricky question for people in our field because we do just about everything. My core focus is character rigging and stuff like that, skinning, etc. But we also develop tools. We do VFX. We work on UI. Every now and again, we do audio. I haven't had to do it for this game, but yeah, we kind of have to be like a jack of all trades and sometimes a master of one or two things as well. So we have to pretty much help multiple disciplines at the same time. But the core focus of the job is really to be the bridge between the art team and the engineering team, who speak very, very different languages, and sometimes making sure you translate that correctly so they don't like attack each other.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I guess I don't even know how much I can talk about my own experience watching the development of a Marvel game. But sometimes, yeah, the disconnect between one department's wants and desires and another one's willingness or capabilities or cap restrictions at that point in time can be challenging. How many people are on your team? There's so many moving pieces of something that's lasted for so many years. How many people are making this train run?
I think we have just over 100, like 120,
Wow.
somewhere around there.
Yeah. That's impressive. That's impressive, and it's difficult to get everybody aligned all of the time. Let's talk a little bit about working with a Marvel property. You both seem like you have some creative backgrounds. Is it difficult, or do you ever feel like the creativity is restricted as a result of having to build things that are Marvel and are approved and are, iterations on things that already exist?
Yeah, especially on the art side. Like we ultimately have to end up on the mobile phone, and there's such a wide range of devices and performance levels to those as well. So you get really, complex characters who.
Do you want some water? We can grab you some
I would
water.
love some water.
Yeah, Freeman, are we able to grab a couple cans, please?
So
We
you
got
have to-
canned water here.
Oh, yeah, I love it. My hotel
Barcelona's
has like
like
a bunch
canned
of canned waters. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
yes,
strange. To me, that's
more of
weird.
this.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get like a really complex character. Like I said earlier, like you get simple characters and you get complex characters. And thank you.
Thanks so much.
And to port over the ideas of the canonical approved ideas from the
course.
comic books and like bringing that to life is really difficult in its own for some characters. And then also some characters are so crazy that you have to like scale back some of their features that they are known for. So in particular, I always bring up Doc Ock because he was just like a technical challenge for our team back in the day. Of
course.
He normally would walk on his tentacles, but because of the limitations of our engine, we couldn't really have him do that too much because he looks a little floaty. So that's one of like the limitations of stuff we have to deal with, or characters like Omega Red who have tentacles coming out of their arms and like how to get those to look fluid and stable and stuff like that.
Tentacles are what I'm learning. Is the pain in the butt.
I'm well known for tentacles on my work.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow.
So-
I hope that, we have the context, but I hope when you say that in future, you provide more context. 'Cause
Yes.
just saying I'm known for tentacles in my work can be a dangerous thing.
my dev team will probably tell you all about it.
This is became
I'm
a
the
big-
tentacle guy
You're
at
just
work.
going to be clipped out. That's going to be the only clip that anyone sees from now on. That's very, very cool. We've got a couple of people acknowledging kind of your work and your process, which I think is great here. But let's talk a little bit more about Unite. Have you guys been to Barcelona before?
This is my first time.
First time?
Yeah.
Both of you? Great. Did you have an opportunity to go sightseeing at all, or were you right into the conference?
Mostly focusing on the conference, but I'm taking next week off, so I have a week of sightseeing to go.
Very smart. What about you, Chris?
A little bit of both. I'm weird. I like go whenever I visit a city, like in a
Yeah.
different country. I go out at like 2 or 3 p.m. and do photography at night. So like I've already been
Whoa.
out. I'm gonna do that for a week straight here. So I'm
Very
also
nice.
gonna be here for another I forgot how long exactly. It's definitely over a week.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think knowing the different ways that people travel is interesting as well. I was fortunate enough to travel a lot, but I would always go and find the local board game shop or comic shop, and just like there's a weird way to absorb culture in a country or a city by doing it through their nerd culture, which I always found exciting. So you have a week left in Barcelona. Do you have, what type of traveler are you? Are you the person who like scripts and schedules every moment, or are you like, I'm just gonna go with vibes?
I scheduled some things, but like also gave myself enough free time that like if I see something cool, I can go check it out.
Sure.
So nothing too dramatic.
Right. What draws you in? Is it the very touristy stuff? Is it seeing the sights? Is it the museums? What kind of traveler?
I think probably some of the touristy stuff, and just kind of like trying to experience the vibe.
Yeah. For me, it's restaurants and cafes. For like a culture vibe check, just sit and people watch. That's my vibe. Unit Code says, bro is a secret photographer. I knew it the moment I saw his style. And says, ask him if he has a photography YouTube channel or Insta or something like that. So before we kind of dive into that, if I can get you guys to pull your mics just ever so slightly closer again. Walk us through, when did you start photography? What do you like to shoot?
I don't know when I started. I just know I liked taking pictures as a kid, and eventually I got a hold of a camera, and it just didn't stop from there. And then I started doing research. I always geek out over like a thing, like I devoted way too much time and money into it. Eventually I settled on a camera, and I just decided to just take pictures, eventually started an Instagram account and just do that as a hobby on the side.
Yeah.
It's been going pretty well for about 4 or 5 years now.
I like that.
But I always did it on and off, like throughout childhood and up until now.
Whoa.
But yeah, the last 4 or 5 years, I like really committed.
Lifelong passion that's just kind of only shot up in the recent years. I want to bring in a question from YouTube here. The Bull says, do you think that mobile is a good place to start your career, or do you think it would be better to move into with experience due to the tech constraints? Do you think it's a great starting place? And here, I'm going to point this.
Oh, there we go.
That's the one.
Okay.
Maybe even that half centimeter, that made a
I'll
difference.
try to stay very close to the
There we
mic.
go. There we go. Yeah, what do you guys think? If someone is looking to start their career in games, do you recommend going to mobile, or do you recommend going elsewhere and coming to mobile later to kind of diversify that skill set?
I mean, I enjoy working on mobile. I think also just because now my focus is performance optimizations, like there's definitely a lot I have to look at, especially supporting Android. You've got a huge range of GPUs, CPUs, different combinations, different, types of devices that you have to support. So there's always like some weird issues that come up. Whereas, if you're developing on console, like, you only have limited number of different platforms there.
Not that many.
Yeah, pretty strict there. So I like it. There's a lot of different things that you can explore and try out. But I haven't worked in console or anything, so
Okay.
maybe come back in a couple years and let you know.
Sure, please. In a couple of years, come on back and we'll see how things have updated. But I mean, I guess it also goes to show in some capacity that going into something and sticking with it can also pay off. Being 6 years in the same company on the same product makes sense in a way as well. But for Chris, what do you think? Do you think it's better to start, return to, circle around?
With my experience, I would say, I mean, you can start wherever you want and you'll adapt eventually. That's the beauty of this industry, is like you'll get good at the job if you keep doing it. I would advise don't start with mobile personally, especially live service. It is can be intense for a beginner. But,
Of course.
Yeah, just start light if you can. Do personal projects more than anything. Just really hone in on personal projects before you kind of dive into this industry.
I've seen the advice given, the best way to learn to make games is to make games.
Yeah,
and just kind of
truly.
going out there. We talked to, some students that were making their games, and we checked out their portfolios and things at the University of Barcelona before this event started, and telling people that like who you know is important, your network is important, but at the same time, your portfolio is what you will live and die by. So to go out there and just create, go do things is, I think, very, very important. I've also seen anecdotally from the colleagues I've worked with previously in mobile that there is a desire for a lot of companies to create mobile. We see things like, big industry, Ubisoft and stuff that are going to buy up studios. Blizzard did the same with King. And then trying to create and capitalize on mobile as an industry. I have seen people that feel that they get stuck in mobile because they have such a desirable resume from one part of the industry that is almost just looked at and evaluated from a different perspective from the other side of the industry. And kind of even beyond that, the player bases, they seem different as well. What can you kind of do to, I don't know, can you just kind of talk to me a little bit about creating for a mobile games audience and how that might be different if you were looking for like a console audience?
Well, they are two different animals in some regards. Your previous guest really hit on something when he said, "Don't call it a product," and it's like
I did.
You will hear that
just now, and I felt bad because I know Raph scolded me for doing it, and I'm going to work it out of my vocabulary.
You will hear a lot of executives say the word product, especially more commonly in mobile games, and I personally feel itchy when I hear that. I'm like, don't call it a product. These are passion projects, and
course,
a lot of love goes into games, even if it's like a mobile gacha game, and it's I could say more about that all day long, but really developing for all that. No, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. If we're being honest, my question was also very scatterbrained, so take whatever time you need.
I'm jet lagged as hell right now. So.
I get it. But for you, creating for a mobile audience, do you think it would be different if you were looking into more of a console-focused demographic?
I think so. I think just in terms of the live service, like because we're always creating updates, so we're getting feedback from players, and incorporating that, and as we do feature designs and things like that. Whereas, console, like you're kind of shipping the game, like you have your deadline, like all of those things. So I really like that. We get to keep building on the game. We launched it, I think, 6 years ago, and we've added just a ton of features since then.
So the game's 6 years old, and you've worked there for 6 years. Were you there for launch, or did you kind of come on right as it had already been out?
I started as an intern like 2 months after they went live.
Whoa.
Live launch.
Okay, it is interesting. I've not been in a studio for a launch. I've been curious about like the level of excitement. It's got to be incredible, right? People have been working on things for years and years, and all of a sudden, we talked to Onat Hekamoglu yesterday, who's the creator behind Harold Halibut. And his dev process was 10 to 13 years long. And he finally put out the game in April of this year. And I could just see like the life in him of like, oh my God, it's free. We did it. It was very, very exciting. But again, we can kind of circle back to talking about Unite a little bit. The one thing for me as a community manager, and then again that we've seen in a couple of our guests, is the ability to kind of connect. Is there anyone here that you didn't expect to meet, or were hoping to meet, or still are hoping to meet? What is the level of networking for you guys as kind of established industry people?
I haven't really. Well, I met a bunch of people. I wish I could remember all their names.
And that's okay. We don't need to. You don't need to name drop every single person. By any means.
I've met quite a few devs just out and about since we're all here in Barcelona, together for this event. So you'll see like a bunch of Unity badges, Unity pins all over the place. And like, hey, I also work with Unity.
Yeah.
So just chatting about the games and what we're doing and stuff. Especially at the local bars and pubs, we're just all casually, having a drink while talking about our games and stuff. So it's been pretty nice.
Yeah. Anything that stands out for yourself?
We got to connect with some other folks that work on other games within Scopely
cool.
that we don't always get to see because of location, because we have a bunch of studios across the globe. So it was nice to see some of those people in person and get to connect and share stories. And I saw the Monopoly Go did their talk yesterday, so I went to that.
Holy Monopoly Go. Holy Monopoly Go. It's in the keynote, and I knew it was substantial, but like, what is it, $4 billion within like 6 months of launch or something like that?
Yeah, they're titans.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
That's an insane statistic. Like that's just like my brain can't even compute that. So do you guys feel that there's a level of camaraderie across, not projects, across different games internally? I know each studio is different, but do you guys kind of interact and mesh across streams?
Yeah, we have a lot of devs that used to work for us or have gotten transferred or have transferred to us, and we're all connected in that regard. So it's been pretty cool. I have a lot of colleagues that worked on them a while ago, so I'm always cheering for them to be successful. Because ultimately, when they're successful, we can share tech and stuff.
Yeah, big time. That makes full sense to me. We have all flown across the world to be here. Do you guys bring games for your flight, or do you watch movies? What kind of travelers are you?
Usually I pack my Switch, and then sometimes I play it, sometimes I don't.
Sure.
Sometimes it's a pain to get through security. So I tried to pack light this time.
So no Switch this time?
No Switch this time. And just went for movies.
Okay. What'd you watch?
I've been watching a new show called Kevin Can Go Himself.
Yeah. With, what's her name?
Annie Murphy.
Thank you. She's Canadian. I should have known that. All Canadians know each other, so that's a real thing.
Yeah, that's a really good show. I'm enjoying it.
Right? Not bad. Chris, what did you do? Did you play games on the way here?
Yeah, I usually bring a laptop and just play Steam games. I'll like single player epics throughout the whole flight. This time I just brought a Switch for the first time, so I'm playing Pokemon, which I haven't played in years. So
Which one?
The Violet one.
Violet, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm not used to the whole new 3D thing they're doing, so it's been pretty cool to see.
And to mixed results as well, right? Like I'm a big Pokemon fan. I've been playing a lot. I played Violet on my own stream channel as well, and they're trying a lot of new things, which is great.
Yeah.
Not all of them are hitting or landing, but I mean, I feel like that might be a perfect playing game as well to just kind of like.
It's all new to me,
wander.
so I'm excited to see it all in fruition.
Yeah.
I am biased towards the classics though.
Of
for
course.
me, Crystal version will always have a place in my heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just did and I don't know if these words mean anything to you, but I just did a Nuzlocke run in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So again, to the 3 people that know what I'm talking about, you're welcome. I think that's great. And I really appreciate you guys taking your time, especially as this event ends in 30 minutes, like the whole event. So thank you for taking your time out of your schedule to come and hang out and chat with me. It's great to meet you in person because, again, we did a round table previously in which we connected briefly, but this is a different vibe, a different energy. And again, I'm very, very grateful that you guys took the time. So enjoy the rest of your time at Unite. And one last time, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And everyone should go play Strikeforce because you can get it on your phone and it will take you no time whatsoever. It's accessible to pretty much every single one of you. You all have phones, don't you? Do you guys remember that? Woo, that was a moment.
Spicy.
That was a spicy moment. All right, with that, we are going to transition into our last segment of the stream. That's right. 7 hours of streaming in 2 days is nearly finished. If you are just tuning in or you joined us in the middle of our conversation with Chris and Emily from Scopely working on Strikeforce, you might be confused. What are we doing? We are here in Barcelona at Unite 2024, and we are bringing you, the community, a little taste of Unite. While it's an incredible event in Barcelona, that does not mean that it is incredibly accessible to absolutely everybody. So instead, we would like to bring just a little piece to you, whether that's through conversations with Unity people, through industry people, through legends, through experts, through people that are just wandering through the halls. We actually didn't do that one yet. Maybe next year. That's how we want to connect you all with this event and the industry. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. So we have, Freeman, we have our next guest over there somewhere? Great. We are ready. We're going to queue it. We're not ready. We're ready to be ready. You know what I mean? We're going to queue it up here. But again, my name is Jackson. I'm a community manager here at Unity. And my job, my responsibility are these live streams on both twitch.tv/Unity as well as the official Unity YouTube page. My job, sorry, I'm helping. My job is to help bring content to each and every one of you that hopefully you elect to come back and join us pretty much every week. We'll be streaming almost every week. This is a bad example because next week we are taking off because we've just done 7 hours in 2 days. But I'm grateful to each and every one of you who have come through so far. And I hope that you come back and join us. I know Dragon Spirit Game says, I so wish that I was there as well. I was in my own country. I was there last year in my own country in Amsterdam. That sounds awesome. I did not get to go to last year's Unite, but I'm hopeful to continue to do this type of thing at many of them. Bull says, I need to shift my perspective on mobile. I've always discounted it and viewed it as gimmicky or even a scam sometimes. I need to start taking it more seriously. Bull, you've touched on something that's very interesting. At my previous job, I worked at a mobile games studio and I worked as a community manager there. And I learned something over the years that I was there that I think there is absolutely a stigma around mobile gaming that kind of needs to go away, because sure, if we go back 10 years, what a phone was doing versus what console games were doing were so vastly different that, yeah, things felt smaller in scale and in comparison. But in this day and age, what you're able to play on a phone versus what you're able to play on other consoles is actually pretty impressive. But beyond that, I've also learned that those two communities are pretty different. People that are very dedicated to mobile games versus people that are more traditionalist gamers in console and PC are kind of different demographics. Sure, there's crossover. There always is. You are playing games, but they are different people with different needs and different desires and differing willingnesses to be involved in things. So I'm kind of with you. I think the perspective of mobile gamers is definitely an interesting one that will shift as time moves on. But the one thing I think we can all agree on is that you should not go in front of a crowd and announce a mobile game to standard gamers and then criticize their response by saying, you all have phones, don't you? So we've all learned something here today. I've also learned that maybe 7 years or 7 hours was too many hours for live streams. Heavy Metal Sasquatch on the Twitch side of things says, hot take, games on phones were better 10 years ago. Those early iPod Touch games were legit and now lost media. And you know what? To each their own. And with that, we are going to bring on our final guest of the show. If you stick around, we also have giveaways that they're going to help facilitate in the final moments here as well. But please welcome to the show one of our Unity employees. Welcome, Thomas. Thomas, how are you?
Thank you. Good things.
Good. I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, likewise.
Again, we'll get you right up on your mic. You can feel free to grab that, move that however you please. Get it as close to you as you can. Put it as close to your face as possible. Like this? Thank you. That's perfect. It's great. Perfect. And then if you want to, you can use your radio voice. Yes.
I'll try to do that.
Perfect. I love it. There we go. So Thomas, you and I have been back and forth in discussions to bring you on here. We will be talking with Thomas about ebooks, educational tools, those types of things, because you have a wealth of knowledge to share. And I think it is something that needs even more just an amplification, because I think these tools are fantastic for helping people learn, but at the same time, maybe not enough people know about them in general. So we will get to that. And I know we had people asking about them earlier. I hope that makes you excited, that people are here and curious and excited about it. But before we really dive into that, how's your time at Unite been? Is this your first one? How are you enjoying Barcelona?
It's been a great event. I've been at Unity for almost 8 years by now.
Whoa.
Yeah, meaning I've been to quite a few Unites over the years.
Yeah.
This one has been one of the best, in my opinion. I think it's been very re-energizing for all of us to get back on the show floor, meet our customers, hear about all the exciting projects they're building, users too, users wanting to, take the next level, learn about the tools and how to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
So, very inspiring.
Right? Isn't it? I feel like every conversation I've had with a dev has been like, I don't know anything about game development, but do I need to start learning? Like, am I about to become a game dev? Because everyone's been so inspirational.
Yeah, definitely.
To kind of fill in the gaps a little bit and give people a little bit of a background on you, what do you do at Unity? You've been here for 8 years. How has that kind of shifted over time?
Yeah. I mean, when I joined, I think we were about the fifth of the size we are now. I'm based in the Copenhagen office. So the original place where it all started, so to speak. A lot of things have changed over the years. But what hasn't changed is that Unity for me has always been an inspiration in terms of helping unlock the creative opportunities within real-time 3D of the games. I myself have a background in the games industry as well. We actually had a startup quite a few years ago, building browser-based games.
Cool.
And that was back in the early days. But building browser-based games required us to build our own game engine. And I think at one point we were spending about 70% of all our resources on building that tech to be able to create the game. And what we're really excited about was actually building the game, not building the tools to get there. So for me, being in Unity is an opportunity to help others achieve the dream of creating something awesome, helping with the tools and so on. And so over the years, my role has shifted quite a bit. I started in what's called product marketing, a function where the focus was very much on releases. So communicating what's new, what are the new features, how to use them, demos, blog posts, all the content to support that, and sort of like educating users on the what's new. And in the past 2 years, our focus has shifted a little bit. I started a new team, which we call the technical content team.
Ooh,
yeah,
it sounds fancy. It's got good.
It
buzz.
is fancy.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds fancy. Yeah, admittedly. But the basic idea is that we are trying to help our users with more educational samples and resources to be successful. And so when I joined Unity, I was always a huge fan of Unity Learn, and our YouTube channel. Tons of great content there. But Learn has traditionally focused more on the beginner users and just getting started. And so we wanted to do something for those who already spent a few hundred hours in Editor or beyond that.
Right.
Those who already done a few game jams or personal projects and want to take it to the next level, do commercial games, or those who are already creating commercial games. So we started the team with the purpose of helping not do best practice. Best practice is a little bit of a naughty word, particularly as engineers, because
of course
there's no right way. It always depends.
Oh, good point. Okay. I'm learning. I'm with you.
Well, genre, platform. It's hard to give like a blanket statement answer to problems. That said, though, there are certain things you absolutely shouldn't do, and there's certain also things you probably should be doing if you're creating a game for commercial with a commercial perspective, such as profiling, performance optimization, and so on. So we started creating ebooks in particular. We have about 30 today. Ebooks which are created in partnership with R&D and both internal but also external experts. But the basic idea is to get all the tacit knowledge, which is sometimes hard to find in tutorials and documentation, and provide a little bit more opinionated view on how to do certain things. So it's not the right way necessarily, but it's one way of attacking problems.
Yeah, and I think that's so cool about game development. And we've talked about using the right tools for you. Even within certain tools, certain problems have multiple solutions, right? Yes. So I know that we've got a number of kind of different visuals to help support things here. So Freeman, we can kind of start diving into those a little bit, but we have kind of all of these ebooks that your team has worked on all over the place. And I believe they even got a shout out during the keynote, did they not? Like, hey, here's all these exciting things. We've got these ebooks coming to join them. Yeah. How many ebooks do we have available for people?
So as of today, I'm pretty sure we have 30 titles available. But many of the existing titles are also 22 LTS editions. So one of the focus areas for us right now is actually updating those to Unity 6. And you're right, it did get a shout out in the keynote. I was, of course, excited about that. The whole team was.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, I think it's exciting because the focus for us kind of come back to release marketing and talking about Unity 6 and what we should be excited about is that it's always great to know what's new. We all want to know that. But it's even better to know what's new and then get the tools you need to how to get started with it. Granted, a lot of the tech in Unity 6 is complex, just like Unity is. In general, the learning curve can be steep. So for us, a big focus is also helping provide more and more educational resources to help you get started, make the most of those features.
Of course.
Yes.
I think that's something that we see all the time as well, that people always are hungry for more learning opportunities and resources.
Totally, yeah.
And so kind of streamlining that as best as possible must be a challenge. How do you guys actually go about the process of creating an ebook? You mentioned collaborating with people internally and externally. Can you give us some insight into that process?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So each of the ebooks have different topics. And so what is UI or URP or it's performance optimization? What is that performance optimization in a specific console or it's more mobile? Subject matter expertise is the key, right? So what we do in our team is we team up with our engineers and R&D, the specific teams, to build the best possible content which we can. But we mix that with real-world examples. So an example of someone we've been collaborating with is our consultants, also known as Accelerate. These are senior engineers who go out to our customers, some of the biggest studios out there, and help them advise on what they can do to improve their project. Whether that's performance optimization or reviewing project architecture, whatever it is, these are the guys on the ground. And learning from them, asking them what are the common pitfalls, what are the problems they're seeing out there, and what are the experience, for instance, from moving from, say, built-in render pipeline to URP. What are the do's and don'ts? That's very much something we are tapping into. So, yeah, a combination of both internal experts, but also external experts.
Yeah.
We sometimes also find someone from community, actually.
Ooh,
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm all about building and supporting that community. I know Sean Fong here is wondering, as well as Sand Game Dev, where do we distribute these ebooks? How do people get their hands on them?
Yeah, good question. They are actually all available on our documentation page. Another place to find them is unity.com/howto. That's how to with a hyphenated. So, yeah, unity.com/howto.
Very easy.
Yeah.
I got there. I'm putting links for you all so you can get there too.
Perfect.
Very cool. How does your approach kind of change as you go from one version of Unity to the other? Is that a challenge for you that you guys have to overcome? Because you're working with different base materials, right? What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big focus point for us. Each version of Unity comes with a new feature, right? And so something which we tried to prioritize from the beginning, particularly for both the samples and the ebooks, is to have a version which reflects the current version of Unity. Meaning that for some of our ebooks, we actually have multiple editions of them. We have a 21 LTS edition, 22 LTS edition, and now we're upgrading to Unity 6. And so for each iteration, it's also about finding the right talking points, so to speak. There's a lot of things to cover in them. So sometimes it's also about prioritizing what are the most essential differences between the upgrades. Sometimes there's also pitfalls in terms of upgrading, which might also be good to look into. So yeah, that's something which we team up with the engineering teams on and figure out what scope to include there.
Of course. Sounds like a very involved process. And with the big launch of Unity 6 coming in October 17th, how many of these ebooks are you prepared for right out the gate?
So right now, I'm pretty confident we'll have at least 4 ebooks ready on launch day. We'll probably have a 5th and a 6th following the week or 2 weeks after. But then from there, there'll be releases every single month. Pretty much until the end of the year. So quite a few.
I'm seeing here that you guys also do demos and samples. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, sure. So, ebooks is one of the hero formats, we like to call it. It's often the place we start. I should also mention that the ebooks are actually quite comprehensive. Most of them are more than 100 pages.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
But it's all in one place, and that was sort of the basic idea as well. You can learn a lot about, say, the render pipelines by going to documentation, reading our blog, watching some of the talks. But the vision was also to bring it all together in sort of like an ultimate guide or getting started guide, so to speak. But to complement the ebooks, we also done a few samples or demos over the years, which kind of have a similar purpose and are often complemented by the ebooks. So an example is UI Toolkit. We have 2 demo projects showcasing how to use that.
Right.
One which is a very UI-centric, UX-centric, and one which is more programmer-centric. And both those projects are supported by the ebooks, so more in-depth material to kind of cover on how to use them as well. Yeah.
Cool. I know that we also have here a UI toolkit. I feel like UI is a hot topic that I see often in Unity.
Yes.
People using it maybe feel the tools are not everything that they need, but there's a lot that we can get from it. So you guys have created a UI toolkit. Is it a demo that you guys have kind of showcased here?
Yeah, exactly. It's a demo which is available on the Asset Store for free. So the basic idea is you go download it and use it to kind of evaluate whether that's the right thing for you or not. UI Toolkit is a hot topic. We've been showing this demo on the show floor, and we have had a ton of great questions related to the demo. One of the big questions is, of course, like when is the right time to shift to UI Toolkit? I'm using UGUI today. I'm considering making the jump. That's a tough question because again, it very much depends on your specific situation.
Right
what
tool
you're
for the
building
job.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the things which we often recommend is check out one of the samples like the one we created here to get a feel for the workflows, to get a feel for what you can do with the tools.
Yeah.
And then do a hack week. Take out a few days encounter with the team to assess whether those tools are the right tools for you. And then, based on that, you can go from there.
That's great. And I just put the link to it as well. So if you guys wanted to go check out the Dragon Crashers UI Toolkit sample project, it is available to you all there. Easy peasy. Hop in there and take a look. But that's not the only, I guess, project that we use as an example here. We've got Happy Harvest. And this looks like it's a little bit more focused on lighting and that sort of thing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So Happy Harvest is one of our latest 2D demos. It's a small farming game, sort of like a vertical slice. So you've got core game mechanics where you can plant crops and harvest them again, sell them in the market and so on. But the basic idea is we want to show some of the new 2D features, in particular 2D lighting, and how to literally light up your scenes. As you can see with the shadows here from the characters, like how they're casting. It's all interaction with real-time lighting. So a whole bunch of techniques in terms of how to sort of raise the bar, get higher visual fidelity with the classic 2D games. Another project we've been showing on the show floor and has also been getting a lot of questions. And again, it's freely available. We created for users to learn from and extract ideas, cherry pick.
Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot of. I think it's great because there's so much to learn in game dev, even in just one tool.
Yeah.
So providing all of the opportunities it's a big piece. So I'm impressed with what the team's able to kind of pull together here. We're going to take just a deep one step away here for just a moment because we are going to run a giveaway. We'll return to our conversation once that is available. But we do have a giveaway here for a game called Worldless, and I have just started it over on the Twitch side here. If you would like to join and participate for this giveaway, your opportunity to win one of 5 game codes for Steam, head on over to twitch.tv/Unity and make sure you have an account. It should take you 30 seconds or so. Head on into the chat and put !giveaway. We ran one earlier today and had some fun winners for a different game, Void Crew. This one is for a game called Worldless. And I know it's out of order, Freeman, but are we able to showcase a little trailer so people will know what Worldless looks like? Rogue Wolf Den says, that looks great. This is exactly the kind of learning material I'm looking for, which I think is great. I'm glad. I feel like there's so much variety in not just Unity and the tools that we use, that people will use, but beyond that, opportunities to learn. Are you going to tutorials online? Those types of things that sometimes I think we just need to make sure that we're yelling it from the rooftops. So I'm glad that we're able to kind of showcase some of these ebooks as well. What we're seeing on screen now is our game Worldless. We'll be giving away 5 copies of these. It has a very unique turn-based / roguelike collaborative style, kind of mashup style. And we will actually be talking to the team behind this game in our next live stream on October 3rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time here on both of our Unity channels. I've actually connected with the team here. One of my favorite things about Unite and these types of conferences / conventions is being able to connect with people. And we've been working hard to kind of prep for this specific creator spotlight live stream, but the level of passion that they carry is so incredibly kind as well. They're really excited to be able to talk to us and showcase a little bit of their tools, a little show and tell on the creative problem solving that they have done as well. So again, you know how to enter into this giveaway for your opportunity to win, but come back on Thursday, October the 3rd, for your opportunity to hear from the team directly. Thank you, everybody, entering our giveaway. Oh, Thomas, 8 more minutes, and then the whole event is done. As someone who's kind of been to a couple of Unites, what has been your favorite about this one specifically?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the most exciting thing is always to hear about our users' projects.
Yeah.
It's a lot of users come to our demo station and ask for tips or ask about the roadmap, what's coming next, when will this be supported, how do I do this? And one of the things we really love is also to ask the question like, what are you building? Can you show me? And like feeling all that passion, but also then being able to kind of help connect the dots. As in, sometimes people have very specific questions, which I'm not able to answer, or my teammates are able to answer. But then I can be like, let me get your contact info, and I'll put you in contact with that engineer, because I saw that guy earlier down the hallway, and I have a feeling he might be around here somewhere. This is the person you need to talk to who might be able to help you. And I think working in Unity is, I think everyone feels the same way. When I talk to them and say, hey, I met someone who really had had this question, they were really looking for help, can you help out? They're like, sure, of course I will. So I think making that connection at this event, being here in person, is a fantastic opportunity for everyone. And I think, everyone are really excited about that. And when we come back and I talk to some of the engineers who have been helping out, I know they'll be super energized about having seen those projects and having helped out as well. I think for them it's also really cool to hear how people are using the tools. Mm-hmm. Also getting the feedback. It's not always nice feedback. There's always something which could be better.
And negative feedback is fine.
Yes.
We've said on a number of things, we're listening to feedback, especially about specific things, but as long as it's presented civilly. Be as critical and negative as you need to be. Yeah. Just be kind.
Yeah, totally. And with that, I actually have a lot of teammates who also have been doing roundtables. So inviting different user groups to provide feedback on a ton of different feature sets and so on. And I know that's extremely important for product management who are planning the future of the tools and the development roadmap to make sure that what they're building is actually what the community is asking for. So I haven't been part of those roundtables, but I know that's also been taking up a lot of priority for folks.
Yeah. The listening, right? The listening sessions.
Yes.
And people saw for the first time yesterday, I think, the new CEO addressing the community directly. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a great job of kind of setting the standard of we're turning a corner. Yep. We're listening. We're addressing concerns. We're going to continue this conversation as well. So I think, and I saw the sentiment from at least one, that people think that the future is bright, or that, we've turned a corner and we're out of the dark times or on our way out. And I love to see that level of optimism. Obviously, it's been a bit of a time, so it's good. I feel really fortunate. I've only been here 2 months, but it seems like I joined at a great moment for the community at large.
Yeah. I can echo that. I think it's a lot of great feedback overall. Of
course.
I think as a Unity employee, I'm also really excited of where we're heading. Yeah. I haven't been here for quite a few years, and I personally feel also we're coming back to some of the where it all started, if you can put it that way.
Yeah.
I actually also like Matt's opening. I'm not just saying that
it was
because
good.
Yeah, I'm not just saying it's because he's our new CEO. I'm saying it because I also feel that the cool thing about Matt is also he's coming as a former customer, and not only of Unity, he's been using all the game engines, and he's been shipping all kinds of different games. He understands how it is to be on the other side and being depending on our tools and so on. Mm-hmm. And I think that shines through everything which we've seen. I think we're also seeing more and more support in terms of what our small team is doing. The idea that we want to create more educational resources that can help the community grow, upskill, be the next to ship the next big titles. So. So great energy all around.
Good. Yeah. I love that. I love that a lot. We are going to give away some stuff. Mm-hmm. I told Thomas, hey, come on the show. We'll talk for 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll give away stuff. People like free things, and that's fantastic. You have your last opportunity right now to head on over to twitch.tv/Unity and type !giveaway in the chat, because we are about to close up shop here and give away 5 keys to Worldless. Again, come back on October 3rd. Yes. And watch the Creator Spotlight as I sit down with the team behind it to learn all about their product and project. I meant project. I got in trouble earlier for referring to a game as a product. People are like, no, it's art. And I was like, I get that. I understand.
That's fair.
I understand. All right. We are going to close up here and pull some winners. So We'll make this very easy. And again, I will reach out to each of the winners via Twitch DMs from the Unity account in the next potentially 48 hours. But for now, we're going to pull our names. And our first one is Intend Dead Pun. Congratulations, Pun. We'll be reaching out to you. You are the proud owner of a shiny new Steam code for an awesome game. Number 2, we got Dragon Spirit Games. Thank you. I know both of you have been hanging out for much of today's stream. I'm glad that it went to you. Of course, our third winner, Jimmy Two Thumbs 7, was our final entry right before we closed up here. So I'm glad that you made it in. So for you, Thomas, you're going to click this button, and then you're going to read whatever name is here.
Let me reach over here.
You got it.
The pick winner button.
Pick winner button.
There we go.
Okay. Who do we got? We have iJoyan, who actually won a game code yesterday as well.
Ooh, lucky guy.
Double winner.
Double winner.
Do you want to pick the last one as well? Same button.
Sure.
Boom. And that is Rogue Wolf Dev. Ooh, congratulations to each and every one of you. Like I said, we'll be reaching out via Twitch DMs, and we'll be getting you your game codes soon. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thomas, thank you for hanging out with us, sharing some insight into your team's process, being a good kind of advocate for your team as well. I feel like you represented the hard work that they put in very accurately.
Thank you.
I know it's right at the end of the event as well, so thank you for taking your final kind of 30 minutes to hang out with us. Everyone say thank you to Thomas.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. This was a blast. I'm glad. And again, we talked so much about different opportunities to learn different things throughout the last 2 days of streams that hopefully this puts it on everybody's little roadmap for educational process. I'm very excited about that. And again, enjoy the rest of your time in Barcelona.
Yeah, thanks likewise.
And with that, everybody, we did it. They said 7 hours of live streams in 2 days couldn't be done, that it's too much, that it's a big scope and scale, and nobody said that. They just said, go ahead and do it yourself, Jackson. And we put the pieces in place, and we are here at the final countdown, the finish line. We are wrapping up Unite 2024 and all of our community Hangout sessions here. Please come back. If you've enjoyed the content here, look for new opportunities to join us on the live streams. It is my whole job here to create cool live stream content for you. We'll have lots of conversations about what kind of content you guys want, what sorts of things you would like to see, and if it makes sense to have a one-to-one, an interaction with you as the community, it seems like it makes sense to make it dedicated content. I appreciate each and every one of you who have joined us throughout this journey, for being a part of this in any way, whether you've hung out and lurked in the background, if you've been a part of the conversations, if you've entered the giveaways, whatever it may be, please know that I'm very grateful that you are here hanging out with your fellow members of the Unity community. Please come back anytime. We will always be excited to have you here and welcome you with open arms. Again, October 3rd, 9 a.m. Pacific time will be our next live stream. We'll be talking to the team behind Worldless, No Name Studios, a team from here in Barcelona, if you can believe it. Thank you all so very much. And if I can take one moment for a little shameless self-promotion, if you would like to catch up with me in my own channels, you can check out Flannel Jacks on TV. That's 2 N's and Jax with an X. Flannel Jacks, where I play games 3-4 times a week and hang out with my excellent community. No pressure if that's not your vibe, but I hope to see you back here for the official official Unity streams. We'll do Unite next year. Don't worry, we'll bring it back for you guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And with that, my name is Jackson, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.